Hello and welcome to Code with Ibra once again. This particular project is going to guide you from the beginner to the advanced level in CSS. So previously we have a couple of videos that we have done for beginners. Okay, so after that, after the video, this is the final project for the videos, for the lectures. So what we have done here is we have compiled everything together so that it will give you the the practicality of the whole thing. So over here is a coffee shop, so we have our navigation here and also a button here. All right, and then this is just a hero section, and then we can come here, you can see something small about the shop, and also you can look at the shelves. Okay, the shelves we have, and then our menu, the contact form, and then the footer. So this is really what we are going to be building, and you can see that of course when we click on the contact, it will take us to the contact section. We click on the menu, it will take us to the menu section. We click the shelf in that order. When we go to home too, that is, it will take us to the home section. This is a very this is fully responsive. It's a fully responsive website that fits on all devices. So if we view this on smaller screen, this is what you are going to see. Okay, on smaller screen, this is what we are going to see. And if it is on tablet, this is what we are also going to see. So tablet will have a 2 colon on the nav and also 2 colon on all the sections. Okay, but when it is small screen, this is how it's going to look like. All right, so thank you so much, and I'm very happy that you have decided to take this course. All what you have to do is have to do a lot of practice, okay, and follow along, and you will be able to do this simply and also build more complex CSS projects. Okay, so thank you so much, and then let's continue from the next section. Hello and greetings to you from wherever you are watching me from. This is our CSS final project. So we are going to build the final thing. I'm going to combine all that we've done previously so that at the end we will be able to code CSS HTML ourselves. So this is the project setup. Now at the moment you can see that we don't have anything inside. It's just a blank folder called project. Okay, so this is how you create you start your project. Okay, you open your folder, and then this is, you can get away, you can just take this one out. What we do is we will need one folder called assets. So what the asset means is it is inside this asset that we will have our CSS file and then our also the JavaScript files. Okay, so the JavaScript files and then the CSS files will sit inside the asset folder, and then the HTML pages will be here, just inside the project directory. All right, so inside the asset we will create one folder and call it CSS. All right, and then we need to create another one and call it JS. So the JS is where we will store the JavaScript files, and then the CSS also is where the CSS files will go to. So quickly, let me create one file and call it style.css. Okay, so this is the style that we will use for the app. Yeah, sorry, I'm having some headache. That is why there has been some changes in the way I talk. Okay, and then we also have the JavaScript file, which is script.js. JavaScript files have the .js extensions. Now we know that this one is not a JavaScript. We've not started doing JavaScript. Okay, but don't bother seeing this, because we're just going to write one line of JavaScript code, and it's not really difficult. I'll explain why we have to write that. Okay, yeah, we need that for the responsive navbar. That is why we have this. And mind you, from the CSS we are going to JavaScript, so don't let this scare you. All right, okay, very good. So now that we have this, now inside the project directory we'll have one file. We call it the index.html. All right, this is what now we have. So this is the index file. You see the index file is sitting here, and the asset folder is containing the CSS files and also the JavaScript files. But of course, if you will include an image, of which we will do, you create another folder and call it images. Okay, so the images folder will be a place where all the images will be stored. All right, that is very good. So from there, let me go to the index. Okay, we are already there, and let's start doing something. So quickly, let me generate the template, just the template. All right, okay, so let me call this one cafe shop. Okay, so now that we are done calling it cafe shop, it's about time we link the CSS to the HTML. So we link the CSS by saying this. All right, then let me take it step by step. So what we do is just type link, okay, and then colon CSS. You press enter, it will generate the snippet for you, and then from there we go to the asset folder, because that is where our CSS is. So asset, and inside the asset folder we go to the CSS, and then inside CSS we have the file called style.css. That is perfect. Okay, from there we also have to link the JavaScript file. So JavaScript file, we will bring that one before the closing of the body. This is where it will come. So you see script. Okay, so we can also do the shortcut. So SCRIPT SRC, and then you press enter. Okay, so this is simply a tag, and then the SRC is where we will specify where the JavaScript file is located. So we know that the JavaScript is also in the asset. When you go to the asset, we have the JS. Okay, and then there we can locate our JavaScript file. Now for you to confirm that indeed your files has been linked successfully, you can simply hold the control, and then you click on the reference. If it is there, you will see it. Okay, so you see that it has opened a file. When you click, you hold the control, and then you add a click, you can see that now the script file is there. So this is a way you can test to make sure that indeed your file was linked or it wasn't. Okay, so suppose maybe this was star 3, we try, it will tell us that what, unable to open star.css. So if you want to create it, you go to create, but at the moment I don't want to create it, so I'll click the cancel, and then it will come back to how it was. All right, that is very good. So with that, let's continue. Let's move on to the next step. Now what we do is, okay, so let me open the project. So I come to the project, and then I open the index. Right, so at the moment this is what we have. We have the cafe shop here and nothing else inside. Okay, but then I want us to look at the final thing that we are building, and then based on that we will be able to know what we will do. Okay, so this is the final thing that we are going to build. All right, so what you are looking here, this is the final thing that we are going to build. Okay, this is what I'm going to walk you through. Everybody will be able to build this amazing site. Okay, it's very simple, but then all concepts are in, so everybody should be able to do it, if provided you follow the tutorials. So we have the home, we have the about, we have the chef menu in that order. So at the moment this is what we are going to build. Now you can see that when this is at a small screen, you can see that we have this thing here. Okay, we have the menu icon that when you click on it, the menu comes, you click it again, it goes. This is what the JavaScript will be used for. That is why you saw the JavaScript. Okay, so now what we do is, okay, so let's expand it, and this is what we are going to build. So first thing first, let us go to the code. So we are here in the code editor, and quickly let's go to the CSS. So there are some things that it's like a startup that which time you are coming to code, you have to go, you have to follow. So you can see that by default, in order for me to demonstrate, let me just make a P and say that hello world. Now you can see from here, let me turn on the live server so that I don't always have to reload. Okay, let me turn on the live server. All right, so it will, after some time, yeah, it will come. So you can see, you can watch carefully that we have some space around this hello world. Okay, so by default what happens is the browser gives a default padding and then margin to every HTML document. That is why you can see that we have some spaces around this particular one. So to get rid of it, we use the universal selector. So the universal selector simply applies to all the elements of the HTML. Okay, we have the P, we have the H1 in that order, but when you go with the universal selector, it selects everything. So when we select everything, we say that okay, we don't want the padding, we just want it to be 0, and also the margin, we want it to be 0, and also one important thing, that is box sizing, we want it to be border box. Okay, we want it to be border box. Now keep this in mind. You can try and do a search on it on this one, but what this does is it makes sure that it doesn't give extra padding to box element. You can go to our section on CSS box model. Okay, and then you can also do a search on this, but what simply does is when this one is not there, there are some extra width and height that is applied, or that the element will get by default. So when you use this, they are off. All right, always you should be doing this. This is how it should be, it must be. All right, so you can see that because we have applied this star, now the spaces that was here is now off. Very good. So let's continue. I want to do a split screen. Okay, that one will not help. So all right, now that we have this one, the next thing we have to do is we have to specify our color. Okay, so each site that you create, you have to specify colors. We have colors that we use. Okay, we don't just use any colors. Before creating a site, you need to decide the color to use. So let's come back here to look at something. You can see that over here, what are the colors that we have? This one is black. Okay, you can see that these ones are black, these ones are black, and then we, of course, we have a green. Okay, a green. You can see this one is white, this one is green, and then the black. You can see that the text is not black, it's just like light gray color, and then we have some gray here, and then black, and then green. All right, so this is basically the colors that we have. So what we do is we will specify the color inside the CSS. Why we do this is we want everything to be uniform. We want the colors to be the same everywhere. Okay, what I mean is, you see this particular green here is the same as the green that shows when we hover, is the same as this green here. Okay, they are the same. All right, so what we do is we do that with variables in CSS. So if you are new to variable in CSS, this is how it is done. You start with a colon, and then you call root. Okay, so inside this is where the colors will come. All right, yeah. So if I want to specify a black color, I simply have to start with dash black. Okay, and then what's the color for black? The color for black is you can say 000, or simply you can go by saying black. Okay, and then if I want to create a variable called red to hold the red color, I simply have to start with this and then say red. Okay, which color do I want the red variable to represent? Simply red. Okay, that is how it is done. You start with double dashes, 2 dashes, and then the name of the variable you want to create. So I can create a variable like maybe shadow, and then I'll say that the shadow is so you can say 0, 0, 2 pixel, 4 pixel, gray. So each time that we use this, it can give a shadow. Okay, now this is just a demonstration. We will be using this throughout, so you understand how to use it. So yes, now I have some predefined colors. That is what we will use. This is what we have. So we have black, we have green, white, light gray, and also the gray. All right, yes, that is very good. And then I think one last thing, let me add that one too also. That is of course the transition. Okay, the transition. So for the transition, I can simply create a variable and call it transition. So double dashes and then transition. And then what do I want the transition to be? So 0.3 seconds is okay. This is how it goes. Wherever you use the transition variable, the transition specified will be applied. But of course, this is the one that we will use. Okay, I have already covered transition, so I don't need to explain it again. You can go back to the lectures, check the playlist, everything is there. All right, so now we have the variables created, and our variables, they are simply holding our colors and also some of you see this particular transition, it will be used mostly everywhere. That is why I've created a variable for it, so that I don't need to repeat myself each time I want to use it. I simply call the name of this variable, and this whole attribute here will be applied. All right, very good. Now when you are done with the variables and also with the universal selector, the next thing we begin is the body. Okay, so when we say the body, that is where everything is, where we see everything is inside the body. Okay, the body of the page. So number one thing we do is we have to first decide which font do we want to use. So font family, now I'll go with DM Sans. Okay, now this DM Sans is a font that I have personally installed on my PC. Chances are that you don't have it, so if you don't have it, the font won't apply. So you can go with other one like Sans Serif and also Sego UI. Okay, so what happened is the computer will search to get this one. If this one doesn't exist, it will come here to see if it will find this. If this one does exist, then it will use this one for the page. If this one doesn't exist too, it will come here to see if in that order. Okay, but I'm sure, because I know I have this one installed, you don't have this installed, so chances are your system will pick this or this one. All right, so we have now specified the font. After specifying the font, the next thing you do is you have to specify the font size for your page. Okay, let me go by 16 pixels. 16 pixels. It doesn't have to follow this way. You can bring this one first and this one second. It doesn't have to follow like what I'm doing. Okay, but keeping it this way makes it very simple and understandable. Okay, and that is not only all. From there, we have to decide the line height for the page. Okay, so I go with 1.7 line height. All these properties, I have explained them in our CSS tutorial video for beginners. Line height and everything is there. If you are confused, you can simply go there and make a search. You get the video with all the explanation we've made so far. All right, very good. So that is it. And then not only that, from there we go to the color, I guess. So the color is the default color for all the text on the page. So the color, let me go back, let me use the gray. I use the gray for the color, and also the background. So the background, let me use the light gray for the background. So this is now what we have here. Okay, this is what we have here. The background is light gray, and then the color, as you can see, this is the color, and then the light gray background. That is what you are seeing here. Very good. And this is not the only thing. The next thing I think we can do is I want to apply transition to the page. So transition, that is instead of stating the transition, I simply have to use the variable we've created. Okay, so you can see that over here the color, we used a variable. Okay, you can see that we have a variable called gray dash gray. This is the dash gray. So we start with var keyword, and then inside open and close bracket we put the name of the variable including the double dashes. All right, that is it. So now the transition, I have a variable called transition. This is the variable, so I simply have to put the dash transition, and then you can see I don't need to come and specify this whole thing here. This transition variable is representing the whole of this, so that means the transition here will pick whatever is declared inside this variable. All right, and then the background also will go to the light gray, this which is this one, and it will pick the stated color. All right, very good. Hope by now we all understand. Okay, so I'll ask you to subscribe if you've not subscribed. If you are new to the page, you can see that what we are doing is a lot of work, taking our time to explain the concept the concept step by step. So you can consider subscribing to promote the channel so that we can also be motivated to bring you guys new content, and also keep on bringing new content. All right, okay, so let's continue. We have now set up the body, and when we go to the page, this is what now we are seeing. Now the hello world was just for demonstration purpose, so just let me take it out, and then we can now see our blank page sitting there. Very good. So what we can see, what I want to show you is over here. You can see that, you see, our page is not spanning to the end. All right, you can see that the page is not spanning to the end. You can see that we have some space here, and then you can see there's a straight line here. Okay, there's a straight line. All the content are sitting straight. Okay, no bend and then no curve. They are all sitting on a straight line. Okay, this is how you should make your site. You don't need to make some to the left, to the right. It's not the best. They are all sitting on a straight line. So this is what now we are coming to look at, how to achieve that with CSS. Okay, how to achieve that. So how we did that was very simple. First of all, those of you who are familiar with Bootstrap, you know of containers. Okay, so I'm coming to create my container. This is my personal style that I adopted from nowhere. This is what I use in all the projects I created. So it's my personal. I'm not sure you see it in some other videos. Okay, this is my personal thing. What I do is that we create a container class. But first thing first, let me create HTML div, and then let me call it container. Okay, for demonstration purpose, I'll put the hello world here. Hello world. Let me just duplicate it. So hello world 3 times, and then we can see that for the container. So container. So the container, the weight I want to give to the container is seeing that now the container is sitting at the edge of the screen. No matter how, if the screen is maximized, they are sitting at that same location. So what we do is we give it a width of 1200 pixels. This is the width I want to give to the container. Okay, and for demonstration, I'll give it a background so that we know the changes that will be taking place. So yes, we have the width set to 122 pixels, and then this is now what we have here. Okay, this is what we have. But of course, you can see that how do I call it? Okay, so this is the container, and then this is the children inside the container. We've given it a width of 1200 pixels. So let me also give it a margin of auto. A margin of auto. So the margin of auto will simply bring it to the center. Okay, so very good. It should be at the center now. So I maximize, and then it's not at the center simply because I have some zooming. Okay, so this is what we are talking about. You can see that now it's at the center. This is the width of 1200 pixels, exactly as this one. Okay, 1200 pixels. So from there, let me keep it this way so that we can be able to see the changes. All right. Now we have the weight, we have the background. As for the background, I think it's not making great impact. So like this, so that we can see it. We can see it clearly. So you know that now this one is responsive on small devices. Okay, it's responsive on on large screen. Sorry, but the moment the screen gets smaller, you can see from here that it's not being responsive. Let me use the Google Chrome's built-in. Yeah. Okay, so with larger screens, you can see that it's responsive, but as the screen gets smaller, it becomes unresponsive. You see, I have to be tapping left and right before the content of the screen can be seen. Okay, so we have to also target, we have to do media queries, use media queries to make the container responsive on all devices. So how we can achieve that is, with this done, we come here and then we say that, okay, at media screen and max width is 992 pixels. So look at what we are doing here. We are telling the browser that if we have a device that has a screen which is equal to 992 pixels or less, okay, a devices with a screen that is equal to or less than 992 pixels, if we have such devices, then the container, this particular style here, will not be applied. What will be applied is, what will be applied is, we will change the weight to be equal to, we will change the weight to be 968 pixels. Okay, we will change the weight to be 968 pixels. And as for the margin, we don't want to change it. So because we haven't specified margin here, it will by default pick the global one here, the one defined here, and the background too, it will pick this one. Okay, as for the background, I will remove it. It's just there for demonstrations. All right. Okay. And yes, so we defined the media screen for 992 pixels. Okay, but watch this. Let me bring this one in, because this one is supposed to come before what I just did here. Okay, so what we do is, when the screen is larger, when the screen is very large, then maybe some desktop screen has 1K. So 1K, you can see this particular one can fit. Okay, so when the screen gets to 1200 pixels, this exact width, what we do is we want to change things up. So max width of this. Okay, so if the screen, this is by default, this is the height of the screen. So when we reduce the screen, or if we have a computer screen that is equal to the 1200 pixels, things will not fit perfectly. So what we do is, if we get that, we will change things up. So we will simply, when we get that, we change it to 992 pixels. Okay, 992 pixels. This is going to be slow. I'm not going to move fast, okay, because I want everybody to understand. That is why I've taken the time. So this is what we are doing. Now, by default, the screen or the container has a weight of 1200 pixels. Okay, now when we reduce the screen, or if maybe we have a device that has a screen equal to the 1200 pixels, what happens is, instead of it taking the 1200 pixels, it will instead change to 992 pixels. All right, so I think it will be good for me to do a demonstration. Let us go back to the browser, and now we refresh. So I go to the responsive screen, yes, and then you can see that when your device is 1K, it can fit, but as it keep reducing, when it gets to 120, so you can check from here, right? when it gets to 1200, if you have a device that is equal to 1200, this is what will happen. You see, the screen has now reduced from how it was. So you see, at first this is how it was. When you have a device that is equal to 1200, it won't give you the 1200, it will give you the 992 pixels. Okay, that we have defined here. So this is what is kicking in. Okay, when the screen also gets up to 992 pixels, so let's go back. When the screen also gets up to 992 pixels, it also have to change to 768. Now when it gets to 768, that side we've not defined anything for the, that is why we are seeing this. So quickly, let me not waste much time because I've already explained this thing before. I've explained media queries, so I shouldn't have to waste much time here. All right, so let me do last one for the small screens. So for small screen have 768 pixels, and when it is a small screen, we don't want to bother ourselves. We want to give it a weight of 100%. That means it will fit all the screens. All right, and then of course let's also give it a padding of 10 pixels all around, right? So you can see how it is. By default it is 1200. When it gets to 1200, it changed to the tablet mode, which is the 992. When it gets to the tablet mode, it also changes to the mobile screen. When we reduce the mobile screen, we give it 100%, and this one will give you 100% responsiveness. Okay, this is my style of how I go by building responsive designs. I've not really seen people doing though. Maybe some too does it, but I don't really know. Okay, so now it's responsive everywhere. This is responsive everywhere. That is very good. So let's continue. So all what we are doing here is just a startup. Okay, this is just a startup. We've not actually started with the actual development. It's a startup for the project. Okay, very good. So let's move on. So in moving on, we are going to start with navbar. Everything is now set up. So we begin with the first thing first. We come here, we can see that we have a navbar. Okay, a very nice navbar that is responsive. We can just expand it. So we will know how to do this from scratch. Okay, all right, so follow me along. What we do is we need a nav tag. Okay, the nav tag. So a nav, and then this nav we have to give it a class called navbar. You hit enter and then you have it. And then of course, looking at here, you can see that the navbar also follows the container. Okay, they are all aligned. Yeah, you see what I'm talking about. So we also give the container here, container. So everything, all the content that will come inside the navbar will sit within this container. So because they are inside this container, they will adapt to the weight that we have defined. All right, that is very good. So look at the page. Now we have what? This is what we call the navbar brand. It just shows the logo or the brand of the company or the site. Okay, so in this case our own is what? Cafe shop. All right, so that is the first one, first division or the first thing. The second thing is the children or the nav links, the navigation links. Okay, so this is the second division. And then the third division, of course, is what? The button, which is reserve a table. Okay, reserve a table. So that is it. I start with the first division, that is the navbar brand. Okay, and then the navbar brand is just a link. When you click on it, it's a link. So I will just call this one okay, let me just call it the cafe shop. Okay, cafe shop. And then I would like to give it a class called link. A class called link. Now this link class we've not really stated the styles. So let me just come here and then I'll say general classes. So the general classes are the general class for our element. So the link will simply be have the text decoration of none, and then we give it a color of white. Okay, a color of white, black instead. Okay, that is all the link, and then all the links to, you can see that when you hover on it, some things does change. Okay, all right, so we'll come back to that later. Coming back here, we can see that yeah, so okay, let's come back here instead, and this is what we have our coffee shop here, but then of course the color needs to change. So come to the CSS, and then when we come to the CSS, we have to, okay, that is it. Sometimes you need to navigate top and down to get the actual thing you are doing. All right, so we have the navbar here, but then because container, we give it this one. Let me take it off, we don't need it anymore. So we have the navbar, and then the navbar have the brand, navbar brand called the coffee shop. So that is what you are seeing here. Very good, the coffee shop is here. And then we go to the second division. I told you there are 3 divisions. Okay, the 3 divisions are what? The brand, this one, and then the links, and then the button. Okay, the 3 divisions. So very good. Now this one, and then we also need the navbar, let me call it content. So the navbar content is where the items will be. Okay, so navbar content, and then also we have a UL of navbar collapse, and then we have the LI, the list, and then the links. So we have the home. Okay, this one, let us give this one a class called navbar item, and then the link will be what? Will be navbar link. Okay, so this is what we have. We have the content. This is a container. Okay, and then the container is housing the list, which is another list. So the nav you are looking at, their list is a list. So the first one is called what? The first one is who. Second one is what? About. So in that order, we can copy this one and then do a couple of pasting to achieve that. So the first one was whom. Second one was what? No, I'm not sure it's about. Let's just check. Okay, about chef menu. So about chef, and then menu. Okay, so please, if you've not subscribed, kindly consider subscribing, give us a like, and then also a comment. This is what really motivates us to keep on bringing content and also explaining things for you to understand. All right, so you try to do something that will also motivate us to always be bringing new content. Okay, yes, so we have the menu, and then we have also the last one, that is what? The last one, that is contact. Okay, very good. So let's look at this from the page. This is what we have on the page. Okay, we have the logo, and then also we have the links, the navbar links, the whom, the about, in that order. So what's the next thing? The next thing is the button. Okay, so this is the second division, and then the last division, which is navbar button. Okay, it's a button called reservation. Okay, reservation. So I think now we have the button, we have the nav links, and also we have the logo. Quickly, let me copy a particular style and paste it because we don't have time. Yeah, so let me come to the CSS, and then under the general classes, let me paste this one. Okay, so it's a button. Okay, we have a button btn, and then the btn is the style that we have given to the btn, and then when you hover the btn, this is the effect of what will happen. And then another button, we call it btn green. This is the style for btn green. You can pause the video and copy them, and then when you hover also, this is what will come. All right, so yes, that is another general classes. So from the general classes, you go to the navbar. So for the navbar, we've not yet given it any style, but when you look at what we have previously, you can see that our navbar has what? This one is the btn green. So I'll simply apply the btn green class of btn green. Okay, because the green btn green is what we have already defined here. That is, this particular guy is here. Okay, so let's now look at it. Very good. So you see, we are now having the effect. When you hover, you can see that it's working. Okay, all right. So from there, we go to the next thing. The next thing is we have to now make this one aligned on the same line. We make them align on the same line like this one. And to do that, what we have to do is we have to target the main container. Okay, so you can really see that you have to I'll ask you to look at this one closely, because it confuses most people. When dealing with flexboxes and display grid, we apply the flex property to the container or the parent, the immediate parent. Okay, so you can see that the navbar brand, the navbar content, and then the navbar button, they are children, direct children of what? Of the container here. Okay, so that means the flex property will be applied on the container and the effect will be visible. Okay, when you apply it on the navbar, it will be wrong. It is this one that you have to apply it on. Okay, yes. So let me come here and then specify the navbar. So navbar, which is this particular one here, and then let me target the container. So to target the container, I'll say that navbar, if you go to the navbar, it has a child called container. So a space and then dot container. Very good. Now when we do this, it is done. Okay, we have now targeted this particular man here. But of course, we can go ahead and then target the other ones. But yeah, let's finish with what we have already selected. Okay. Yes, so what I'll do is the container. I told you that the container is the immediate parent of the divisions of the navbar brand content, blah blah blah. Yeah, so this is what the flex property must be applied on. All right, very good. Okay, so to start, we have to say display is what? Flex. The moment we set the display flex, you can of course see that now it's on the same line. Okay, the button which was here has now come here. But with this is not all. We have to specify other property like the justify content. So the justify content, I set it to space between. We have so many properties here. Don't care about any of them. Care about the space between. When you do that, you can see that now our navbar has been spaced between. Okay, we have this one here. This one here is looking just like this one, but the only thing is we have to do some small style into it. Okay, and we can clearly see that the navigation has a background of white. This one doesn't. So quickly, let's set that. I come here, I say that the background is what? Is white. Okay, it's white. And when we do that, you can now see that we have the white background. Very good. Now, what is the next thing? The next thing is you can see that this one is like is sitting each on its line. We don't want this way. We want it to be separated. Okay, we want them to be on the same line, not each sitting on its unique line. So what we can do is we have to select the navbar collapse, this particular guy here. Okay, this is the one we have to select, or select this one, any of them. So I'll select the navbar item instead. So I'll copy the class, come here and say navbar item. So list style is set to none. Because I have set it to none, you can see that dot 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 is gone. Very good. Now what we can also do here is we can give this one the class of link. Remember, we have already specified a class called link. So let me give it that class, link. Already we have a class under the general classes. There's a class called link that we have created. Okay, that is where we're giving the anchor tags a link class, so that they will act as what? A link. We don't have the underlines. We've just taken it out. I've taken it out from them. That is why you see the text decoration is doing just that. And then I want to go forward also to target this particular link here, the navbar links. So I come and say navbar links. What do I want the navbar link to have? I want them to sit on the same line. But of course, this is not where we will do that. The second thing I want to do is I want the hover effect to set in. Okay, the hover effect. So you follow along. Okay, follow along. Hover. So when we hover, I want the color to be what? To be green. Alright, so now when you hover, we have the green color. Let me also give it a transition. So transition is equal to our transition that we have already defined. Okay, so then you can see we have some transitions, some transition effect. And then I also want to change the font family to Sego UI. Right, Sego UI. So this is what you have. Now if you don't have Sego UI, you can use your favorite font. It's not really about the font, but it's about having the understanding of doing exactly what we are doing. Okay, so we have the Sego font in place. All right, so let's now make this one sit on the same line. To do that, we have to target its container. So what is the container of the nav link? This one is the nav link. Which one is the immediate container? It's of course the navbar item. Okay, so because this is the immediate container, this is the particular one that we have to apply the flex property to. So we come here and then the navbar item, give it a display of flex, and giving it a display of flex should do that. Okay, so I'm not really seeing what I'm expecting, so let's now take time to debug it so that we can get to know why it's not working the way it should. All right, very good. Oh, okay, all right. So my bad, it's very good we are making the mistakes, so that when you are also developing and you encounter such, you know your way around. Okay, so what happened is it's supposed to be on the navbar collapse instead, because it is the navbar collapse that is housing all the nav links. Okay, so that is what we have to do. We have to select the navbar collapse. So the navbar collapse is this one. Wow, navbar collapse, and then we give it a display of flex. What do you think will happen? Very good. Okay, so now you see that they are all on the same line. And now we can also do one thing. You see they are all together like that. So we have to introduce some spaces, and to do that we come to the navbar items, and then we specify a margin top and bottom of 3 pixels and left and right of 6 pixels. That should do it. So we now have some spaces. Okay, it's looking just like this one. All right, looking just like this one, but the only thing is this one is not in caps. So to do that, we come to the nav links, and then we specify text transform to uppercase. Now text transform to uppercase will make it this way. Okay, and then of course you can see that we want it to be bold, so font weight, let's give it 500. So a font weight of 500 will make it bold, but of course this is becoming too much, so let me reduce the font size. Font size is equal to, let's say, 14 pixels. So 14 pixels will make it look similar like this one. All right, similar like this one. So yes, that is it. It's not too much. Let me just make it 15. Right. All right, so thank you so much, and this is the middle of it. We are still continuing. I'm simply reminding my unsubscribed viewers to kindly subscribe to the channel, and yeah, this is what really helps us to bring the content. So if you have not subscribe. Kindly give us your like and then your comment. Also let me know what you think so far with this particular lecture. All right, so we have the cafe shop. Now we have to do some little customization to the cafe shop. All right, we can see that this one is too small, so it's just a matter of increasing the font size so that it looks just like this one. Okay, so we come to the index, and then the navbar brand has a link, so I come here. So let's just put it here. You can put it anywhere. Okay, navbar brand. Okay, and inside the navbar brand has a child called link. So this is it, navbar space link. It means the navbar has a child that has a class called link. So with that, we can put whatever we want to put here. What I want to do is I just want to increase the font size to 19 pixels, and then with that, let's check and see if okay. So the 14 I think is too small, so let's change it. Let me give it 35 pixels, and then the font weight, of course, let me make it 500 pixels. Okay, so let's look at the result here. This is what we are looking at. Okay, so now it's bigger. We change it to bold. Okay, I want it to be bolder. Very good. Now it's bold. So this is how it will look like. But then I want you to look at something. You can see that what we have here is not centered. So we have the cafe, and then this one is on top, and then this one too is somewhere. So to fix this, we have something we call align items. Okay, so align items will simply align the items to either center or however way you want it. So to do that, we simply have to target the container of the navbar, this one. Okay, and then we say align items is center. So align item center will make it what we are seeing here, everything centered. Okay, everything centered. All right, so we have now completed our navbar. We have the navbar here, then we have the links of the navbar, we have our button. Okay, we have our button. So there's one thing that I want us to do also. Now I will introduce you guys to how to use an icons in in HTML CSS. So there's one popular icon we call font awesome. Okay, so you can go to font awesome and then use this link. Yeah, so you click on this particular one to get it for free. You can get, you just use the download link and then you download it for offline viewing. Okay, so we have the desktop and then we have the web. So since it's a web, you click this one and then it will ask you to download, but already I have it, so I will not really download it. You have to. So yes, now from there we link the font awesome to our project, and this is how we do the linking. So we come back to the page. So you go to your downloads, and then this is it. So let me do the extraction. We extract the font awesome, Yeah, this is it. You open it and then you have, so we have so many files here. Now you don't need to copy all of them. This is my project, the project folder. Okay, so inside the project folder, what you have to do is you have to open the assets. When you open the assets, copy the CSS. Open the CSS, you can see a lot of them. Okay, so just copy the all.min.css, this particular one. This is the one that we will need. So copy the all.min.css and then paste it in the project CSS. When you are done, you have to copy the web fonts. Copy that one here as part of the folders. Okay, it's very simple. You go to the CSS and then you copy the all.min.css, this particular one, and then you paste it in our project, in the CSS folder of our project. And then from there, you also have to come back to copy the web font and then paste it as part of the folders here. When you finish doing that, that is all. So we go to the project. We can now see that now inside here, inside our CSS, we now have all.min.css here, and then in the JS, okay, as for the JS, it's already there. You can see we have one new folder called web fonts. So the icons will be coming from all these things here. You don't need to worry yourself knowing what they do. It is there for the icons to work. Okay, now that we have downloaded the font awesome, we have to include it in our project. So we come and say link CSS and then go to the assets. If you go to the asset, navigate to CSS and then all.min.css. all right, this is it. So now we have our icon. Let me quickly test if the icon is working. So to test the icon, I will simply come and create one thing here. So okay, so if it's working, we should be able to see the icon. All right, so you can see this hamburger menu icon. This is what I just created. Okay, this is what I just created. So yes, we will have this one as part of the navigation. Okay, this is where the logic lies. So what we can do is cut this one and then create one additional division. So navbar menu. Okay, now navbar menu icon. So navbar menu icon will contain this one, and then we also give it an ID called navbar menu icon. All right, so let's quickly do some styling. Navbar menu icon. So the navbar menu icon, let's quickly bring that here. Navbar menu icon, and then for the icon, I give it a background. Let's look at what we have already. So already we have a background of black. So we have a black background. Background is set to black, and then we have a font size that is up to, let's make it 30 pixels. So not font family, font size 30 pixels. So font size of 30 pixels should do it. Okay, all right, should do it. And of course we can do some changes. It's not supposed to be a background, it's supposed to be color. So this is now what we have. Okay, this is what we have, and we want it in such a way that when we hover, we want the mouse pointer to change. So we want to change the cursor to pointer. Now that the cursor has been changed to pointer, this is what you can see, similar to this one, right? Yes. So little by little we are getting there. Okay, we are getting there. All right, so yeah, that is it. we now have the icon ready. But you know that this icon will not be needed on larger screens. Okay, it's only small screen that will need the menu icon. So when your device has a larger screen size, this shouldn't be shown. So what we can do to fix this particular issue is we set the display to what? To none, so that by default it is hidden. Okay, so it's there but it will not be shown here, right? Very good. So what we can do is now we are done with the large screen. Okay, so we are coming to now target the responsiveness of the navigation bar. Okay, this is how now it looks like. Okay, but as the screen is getting smaller, it becomes unresponsive. Okay, so we are coming to target the responsive now. Okay, so with the responsive, what I'll do is I come here and then media query and max width of 768 pixels. So the 768 pixels is the mobile screen, right? Yeah, so when it is mobile screen, I want the icon to be visible. So I'll say that the navbar menu icon should have a display of block. Okay, so a display block will be visible. Now let's look at it. So now this is how it look like. So as it's getting smaller, it will be like this. When it gets to 768, you see now the menu icon is now visible. That is it. So if up to this point you are still watching the video, you are following the video, then I'll say that thumbs up. You are really learning a lot. Okay, so try and then do a lot of practice, and also give us your comment and then your like, and then the subscription is very important. Okay, it's very important for the channel. All right, so let's continue. What I'll do is, you see, we don't need to have all these things here. We need to change them. So to change them, what we do is very simple. We have to now target the container. Okay, we have to now target the container. By container, I mean the nav content. The nav content. You can see that this is the particular one that holds all the how do I put it? Hold all the nav link, the navigation link. Okay, this is what holds the navigation links. So what I will do is I will target this particular guy here. I will target this particular guy here, and then I will say that this one now has a position of absolute. Okay, a position of absolute. Let's make it fixed. A position of fixed. So when we make it a position of fixed, look at what will happen. This is how now it will look like. It's looking ugly, right? Let me try and then do a split screen. Okay, so it's now looking ugly. Let's continue. So with the position set to fixed, I will set the left property to 0, and then button to also 0. No, my bad. It's supposed to be top. It's supposed to be top, so that it will be at the top. So with that, let's also give it a height of 100%, and then a background of let's make it gray. Okay, so yes, this is what now we have. And then what we can do is let me actually check the background, because this is not the background we use. Let me check the actual background. Okay, so the background is something like this. The background is something like this. Okay, this is what the background look like. And of course we have to give it a shadow. Okay, so let me copy this code for you. This is the shadow. So filter filter, then drop shadow. Okay, so what this drop shadow will do is it will give some shadow. You can see there's a shadow here. Okay, previously there wasn't, but now we have. Yeah, that is what the drop shadow does. Okay, and then the background, and then the height set to 100%, and then that is not the only thing. You can also see from here. Okay, you can see from here that the menus are now, they are in line, but we don't want it this way. We want to change how it looks like. So to do that is very simple. What we do is we have to use the navbar collapse. So the navbar collapse, we have to use the navbar collapse and then do some changes. Okay, so previously we know that the navbar collapse, this is a navbar collapse, it has a display flex. So that is what is taking place here. Now the flex has some properties called flex direction. Okay, so those who have watched my flexbox, you know that you can go back and then watch through the videos to understand it properly in case you are a beginner. So the navbar collapse have another property called the flex direction. Okay, so I set the direction to column, and when we set it to column, this is what now is seen. You are seeing here. Okay, you are seeing that is column. So on the last screen, it is going to look like this, but on a small screen, this is how it's looking like. Okay, so let's do a few more adjustments to make it look good. I would like to do a split screen. Okay, so from there we have to give it a weight. Let me give it a weight of 140 pixels will be okay. 140 pixels will be okay. So we have 140 pixels, and then I also give a padding left of 10 pixels, so that we have some padding at this particular side. All right, nothing more. Let me also give it, okay, so it's good to have a padding top as well. So padding top of 10 pixels like this. This is how it's looking like. It's looking good already. All right, yes, we have the links here like this one. I have the links here. Okay, the only difference is the spaces. So to increase the spaces, we have to target the navbar link, and then to do that we simply come here, navbar link, and then yes, so the navbar link should have margin top and down of let's say 7 pixels. Okay, wow. All right, so let me check why it's doing this way. So okay, let's remove the padding left and then give it all around padding of 10 pixels. Okay, and then with this we also have to target the navbar. Let's use the navbar item. Okay, the navbar item. All right, and then let me give it 7 pixels like this. So we can now see that we have some space. You have some spaces around. Okay, and then on the smaller screen we don't need the reservation button. On the small screen we will hide that. So to do that, we simply select the particular container of the button, which is navbar button, and then we set the display to none, so that we won't have that. Okay, so now what we can see is we have only the brand and the brand, and then the icon. Okay, and the icon. So what we can do here is we have to okay, so what we have to do is we have to now start with the responsiveness. All right, with the responsiveness. So you can see that now when the navbar content has a weight of so with a weight of 140 pixels, this is the weight we had. So what if now we change it from 140 pixels to 0 pixels? This is how it look like. Okay, this is how it will look like. So when the weight is 0, we don't want this guy to be here. So to do that, we use the overflow property. We set it to heading. so that we will not see anything like that. Okay, you will not see anything like that. And then yes, so that it will not come there. But then of course you are seeing this particular one here. It's very simple. If we take the padding out, it will not be there. Okay, so yes, we will do a tagline here. Now I want you guys to pay close attention to what we do here. I'll add another class called active. Okay, and then I'll give the styling that. So the navbar content that has a class called active. Okay, so this is like a condition. So if the navbar content has a class called active, okay, then whatever we want will come here. So this is where the padding of 10 pixels has to come. Padding of 10 pixels has to come, and then the width of 140 pixels will also be. Okay, yes, you cannot see that we've given it the active class, so it is not there. Suppose we take the active out, it's gone. We bring it back, it's there, right? So this is how we are going to do it. How we are going to do it. So very well. What we can do now is we have to we have to switch from CSS, and then we use a little bit of JavaScript to toggle this particular functionality. Okay, so by default I will remove the active class from there. So when I remove the active class, this is what it will look like on smaller screens. Okay, so we will give this one an ID. I'll tell you why we are giving them IDs. So we call this one navbar content, and then so you can see that there are two items here that has the ID. Number one is the navbar icon, okay, and then number two is the navbar content. So we simply come to the JavaScript, and then we open a JavaScript file. So we create a variable. Now if you are new to JavaScript, just go along with what I'm doing. Okay, I will try and then explain a little bit, but mind you, from here we are going to learn JavaScript, so you will know everything. So const navbar content is equals to document.get element by ID of what? Of navbar content, right? So this is what we are saying. We have a navbar content, a variable that we have created. JavaScript, this is how we create a variable. So navbar content, and then this navbar content is now going through the whole document. This is the document. So going through the whole document, it is searching for an element that has an ID equal to this one. So when it goes through, this is the particular element that it will locate. So simply we are locating content, so we are locating this one. And then the second one is the navbar menu. So const navbar menu is equals to document get element by ID, and then we have to put it here. Okay, so this is just like the other one. It's very simple. It's very simple. So yes, it's very simple. This one is holding the element that has an ID of what? Navbar content, and this one, the variable we created, is also equal to an element in the HTML that has it has an ID of this one. Okay, so what we have to do is in JavaScript there's something we call event listeners. Okay, event listeners. So event listeners is simply for listening to an event. I'm not teaching JavaScript here, so you can't expect me to explain everything. When we get to JavaScript, I think I'll have to cover that. I will cover that over there. So the main thing is you have to know that this one is the icon, okay, and then this one is the navbar content. Navbar content, which is the whole of this one, the whole of the nav links. Very good. So what is the logic we want? What logic do we want? we want it to be in such a way that when we click on this one, when we click on the navbar menu icon, the icons will show, the links will show. When we click it, when we click on it again, the icons should disappear, right? So that means we have to target this particular one with that, and by the grace of God we have targeted that one here. So I'll come and say navbar menu icon dot on click, okay, is equal to a function. And what function do I want to perform? It will come here. Okay, this is what we are doing. So navbar menu, when we click on it, is equal to this particular function. This is the function that it will perform. What function? So let me test it. So when we check and it's working, it will say working, something like this. So click on it, you see a small alert box showing that it's working. So that means we have clicked on it indeed. Very good. This is not what I want to show. This is not what I want to show. We want to do the actual thing. So what I'll do is, when we click on it, we will simply give a class called active to the navbar content. Mind you, when we set active here, automatically this one will come out. When we remove it, it will go. So it is the adding and then removing of the active that is what we are going to give to that is the functionality we are going to give to this particular icon, so that when you click on it, it will add the active here. When you click on it again, then it will remove it. That is it. So to do, what we have to do is we have to target the content, this particular one, the one that accepts the active or the inactive, which is the navbar content. So over here in JavaScript, this is the particular one. So this one dot class list dot toggle. So in JavaScript, toggle is like when you click on it, it will add a class. When you click on it again, it will remove it. Okay, that is it. So just the one line of code, and then when you click on it, we simply want to toggle the active class. Okay, look at something here. When we click on this one will show, but on behind the scenes it will add the active class. When we click on it again, the active class is gone, right? But you can see that over here there's some animation. So how we can add the animation is very simple. To add the animation, you have to come to the CSS, and then when we come to the CSS, over here we say that transition, that is our transition we define over there. So transition, that's what we have. Okay, now this is what we have, and you can see that this particular one, the transition, you see the text doesn't move. The texts, they are at where they are, but this one I think is moving small. Okay, it's really nice though. So yeah, that is how we can go about it. Yeah, so that is it. This is the responsive navbar we have. This is how it look like, and then we have the home, the about, the menus, okay, and then the button. And then on the small screen, this is how it's going to look like. So if you are viewing this page on a mobile phone, this is what you are going to see. So you have to click this to look at the menus. You have access to the menus, and then you click back, and then it's gone, right? So that is how it is. That is how it is, right? Exactly like this one. Exactly like this one. This is responsive nav. Responsive nav. That is it. Okay. So we can, let me increase this one small, so that, yeah, looking good, right? Looking good already. So yes, I will end the first part here. Now I will ask you to go and then try and then do everything we've done so far again. do it over and over again. Okay, and then the JavaScript you try and then you do up to this point, and then you delete it, you start it all over again, you practice it so that you will know how to design responsive navigation bar. All right, also thank you so much for watching. I'll ask you to subscribe so that we can help the channel grow. It is the subscription that gives us the motivation to always bring new content. I'll also ask you to give me your comment and then like the video, share with your friends so that they can also enjoy the show. Thank you so much, and I will see you in the next part of this lecture. Bye bye. Hello and welcome back. Today we are going to look at how you build the hero section and as well as the other pages. Okay, so we have successfully finished with the navbar together with its responsiveness. Okay, we are done with that. We are now coming to look at the hero section. All right, I call it the hero section. So first and first, before we continue with the hero section, I want us to add these classes. Okay, let's add these classes. So over here, see, we call this one general classes. Okay, so these are the classes that we will be using most. Let me come here and then paste it here. Okay, so I call it titles. So you can see that we have a lot of titles inside the project. Okay, so I don't want to be styling the title each time. So we've created this general classes for them so that each time that we use it, yeah, it can be used anywhere, everywhere. Okay, so you have to copy this one and then follow along the titles. Okay, very good. So with that said, what we do is we head over to the HTML page. Let me make it big. We head to the HTML page, and then this is the nav. Okay, so immediately from the nav bar, we are going to the hero section. Or we can also call it the banner info. Okay, it's just a banner that displays some information. So let me see the banner info, right? Banner info. And so this is what you are going to have, another banner info. Okay, for the sake of time, I will be copying some things fast. All right, so we have the banner info and then a container, right? This is a container, and inside the container we have 1, 2, 3 items. The first one is this one, the second one is this one, and then the third one, as you can see. So over here you can also copy along. All right, you can copy along. All right, so with this, let's go to the CSS, the browser, to look at the changes. So we come here, we refresh, and then this is what now we have. Okay, this is what now we have. So you can see that over here this text here is green, right, and ours isn't. So let us simply quickly change it to match the original one here. Okay, yes, so to do that, what we do is we have to add a class for the description, and of course we are going to use this description class in so many places. So what I'll do is I'll come to the star, and over here I'll add one particular class called description, and I will define the styles for the description here so that wherever we use it we can have that same style. Okay, yes, so what I'll do is quickly let me just paste some couple of styles here. Yes, so you can see that this is the description, and the description has the text transform, the font weight, the color, letter spacing, and also font size. So you have to copy this one also to give this class, set the description, and then give this particular properties to it. And from there, that is, I think we are all set now with the HTML. So we can look at the changes over here, and we can see that yes, now it is giving us the same look and then the same feel as the original. All right, very good. So now let us move on to the CSS, where we get to add the background we are seeing here. So to do that, we simply have to head over to our HTML, our code editor, and then go to the CSS. Okay, yes, so you can see that over here the style.css is having yeah, it has a style for the navbar and also the setups, which is the color, the body, and then simple things, okay, together with the general classes. What I'll do is the actual coding, I'll create a new CSS. This is what I like to do. It is not compulsory. You can do it inside the style.css, but it is always advisable to separate your files so that in case when you want to make some changes, it wouldn't be difficult. It will be simple for you, right? So what I'll do is I'll come over here and then create a new file. I'll call it content.css. Okay, so the style.css is simply containing our, the setup and then the container together with the general files. So content.css, what this particular style sheet here, what it will do is it will simply contain the styling for the page, for the entire page. Okay, that is it. So I will come and then link it also as part of the CSS file. So link CSS, and then we call the assets, and then CSS. Over there we can see content.css. Content.css. All right, so now let us test. It's working now. So we know that the content.css is also active. It's working. Very good. So what now we have to do is we have to start with the hero section, and let us go to the browser to check something. We can see that over here the hero section has a background. Okay, it has a background. Now as for the title and then the hero section, all these ones we have it, they are all here actively working. So it's left with the background. Okay, so how we do this is we simply come back here in the CSS, and then first we target the banner info. Okay, we target the banner info. So let me simply call it banner info, so that when we are looking for it we can simply get it here. So banner info. Okay, we have the banner info here. Now the next thing is we have to give it a height. So height of 350 pixels, and then let me give it a background. So background of let me choose gray background. So with this we can now come and then refresh the page, so we can see that the gray is there, and this is the height. Okay, this is the height. Now what we have to do is we have to import some couple of images. Okay, you have to copy a couple of images. So after this whole thing, after this video, I will clone the whole repository to my GitHub page so that you guys can have the source files together with the images. Okay, yes, so I have the images over my PC. Let me copy them quickly and then paste them. Right, so these are the images that we will be using. Okay, the images that are used in the project. These are the images. Okay, so I have copied the images to the project repository. It's now part of the images. Okay, so I'll post everything to the GitHub page, and then the link will be down there. So make sure you go there to download, so that you can have access to the images that I am using. But if you also have your personal images, you can also use them as well. They are all the same. All right, very good. So let me close the expansion, and then instead of having a background of gray, this is not what we are going to do. We are simply going to use an image as a background. So to use an image as a background, you simply have to specify the URL here. Okay, so the background and URL. So inside here is where you specify the location of your image. Our image is in the assets. Okay, so it's in the images. Okay, let me see. All right, so the current directory is the CSS. So we get out of the CSS. We are now here. This is the content.css. So // mean we are coming back one. So coming back one will exit from the CSS folder, and will be inside here, inside the asset. So in the asset we can go to the images, and from the images, let me see the particular image. Let me get the name. So I think the name is slider 2, something like this. Okay, so slider 2 is what we are using. Now let me go back and look at what we have. Yes, so this is the slider 2 that we have. Okay, all right, but you see the color here is not white, so it's just a couple of things here. We will change it very soon. Let us do some little adjustment to it. All right, so I'll come back to the code editor, and then from there I'll add some couple of things. So the background position, I'll set this one to center, and then the background size, I'll set it to cover. And then not only that, I also have to set the background attachment to fixed. So setting the background attachment to fixed will fix the image at one particular location. Okay, so you can see that over here, when we are scrolling down, you see the image is not moving. The image is static, it's fixed. Okay, this is achieved by the background attachment fixed. When you set it to fixed, this is what will happen. Okay, so that is what simply we have done here. We've set it to fixed. Very good. And from there we go to the next thing. We can see that the title here is supposed, this is the title has this class. The title has the class title L, which is short for title large. So I can say that, okay, so banner info dot title large, that means inside the banner info there is a class that is called what? Title large. So this one will not target the global title L, because it will not target the global title L, but it will target the element that has a class title L that is inside the banner info. Okay, simply this particular one. Very good. So let's move on. What we do is simply, I want to change the color from black to what? To white. And then with that said, we can now see that the color has changed perfectly. So that is not only that. What we have to do next is we have to give it a line height. You can see that over here there are some spaces in between this one, the description, the title, and also the menu. Okay, so we'll find a way of also doing the same thing. So to do that, what we have to do is we simply come back to the code editor and then target the container. Okay, so the container, we are talking about this particular container inside the banner info. So let's come down, and then so banner info dot container, the container in the banner info, and then we specify line height and we set it to 2.1. So setting the line height to 2.1, let's look at the changes. So you can see that now there's some space in between. Okay, we now have some space in between them, unlike the first. So let me just increase it from 2.1 to 2.3, and I think that should be okay. All right, this is fine. Yeah, at least this is fine. So that is it. And then we can also see that this one is in the center. Okay, it's in the center, and ours is not at the center. So what we can do is we simply come back, minimize it, and then set the how do you call it, give it a display of flex. So display flex, and I think that should do it. So giving it a display flex simply will bring everything to the center, right? So this is how to do the banner information or the hero section. All right, I hope it's looking good. All right, so that is it. This is for the larger screen. We have done it for the large screen, but how about smaller screen? So on the smaller screen, you can see that it changes. Okay, it changes. Looking at our own, this is not so. So we will do a few adjustments to this particular styling so that we will have everything perfectly centered as you are seeing here. All right, that is good. So to do that, we use the CSS media query, as you know already. So I'll come down here and then add media screen and max width. So we want to start from the 768 pixels, that is smaller phones, tablets, not tablet, but smaller phones, like Android devices. Okay, this is where we are targeting. And then quickly, I want to copy and paste something so that we can move faster. Okay, so this is what you also have to pause the video and then do. What we did is the container, we changed the container and we give it a line of what center. The line height that was 2.3 here, we just changed it from 2 to 1.3. And then the title, we did some we gave it some margin top button to it. Okay, so that is very perfect as you are seeing here. Let me go to the browser and look at the changes now. So this is how it look like now on smaller devices. I'm expecting it to be like this, right? So this is what we have now, and everything is working. Everything is working. Okay, very good. So back to the maximized page, maximized window, and from there, what do we have to do next? What we have to do next is we have to come and target the about us. Okay, this is what we are coming to do. So to do this is very simple. What we have to do is we have to okay, let's go to the code editor and then come to the HTML. Okay, so one best way to develop your site is always make sure that you give comment. Okay, you give comment. So this one like this, you have to give a comment and say maybe navbar. Comment makes it very easy when you want to navigate through your sections or your, yes, let me say sections, right? Yeah, so that is it. We have the banner info, then try and give some spaces in between them. So I like to go with 2 spaces, 1, 2, and then the comment will come and then the actual thing will come. So we are now going to start with the about us. Okay, the about us section. And so with the about us section, that is very simple. I leave 1, 2, and then on the third will be the comment. And then let me say the about us section. Okay, so the about us section is simply a section. So it's a section with a class called about us. About us. And then we will give it an ID called about us section. Okay, this is it. That is a shortcut, so you can learn how to do it. Whenever you bring the hash, it means a class. The hash means an ID. An ID. Okay. So about us section. Let's make it this way. Right. So inside the about us section, what we have to do is, you see, over here, over the final project, you can see that everything is aligned everything is on the same line. We don't have some to the left, some to the right in that order. Okay, so this is achieved because of what? The container class, because of the container. So what we have to do is, after we have declared the section, the next thing that should come is what? The container. Okay, then it means whatever will come inside the container will fall or will go by the that alignment. Okay, we'll use that alignment. It will be inside that alignment. Perfect. So with that, what we do is we can see that we need some couple of things. Number one, we need this one, and then we need a description. Okay, so this is a whole lot of copying. I will just paste it. I'll just copy and then paste it so that we get to move faster, right? All right, so we are back to the section, and what I'll do is I have copied a couple of elements. I'll just paste them here. Okay, so let us take time to go by. So yeah, this is it. We have a div. Okay, we have 2 columns here, so don't confuse yourself. This is what I copied. It's a 2 column. So let's expand the first one. When we expand the first one is simply having a p tag with a class called description, and it's simply saying read our story. And then from there, this is what you are seeing. Okay, this is the first thing. The first column. So from here, we also have to create another class and call it text wrapper. Text wrapper simply means is wrapping a text. So let's look at the actual text. Now when we look at the actual text, this is the actual text. I hope you can see it clearly. So we have a first P tag, that is this one, and also we have a second P tag. So you have to pause the video if you want to copy. You can pause the video and then what? And then copy them, right? That is it. So that is about the first column. And then not only that, we also have the second column. So the second column is simply an image that we have what? We have we have pasted. So the image is simply the image of the chef. Okay, the image of the chef. So there are two columns. This is what we have inside the About Us section. So we can go to the page now and see if we have it. Very good. So now this is what we have. We have the read our story, and then we've been making blah blah blah, as you can see. So this is what is here. Okay, all right. So we are done with the HTML. Let us change the styling so that we make it look exactly as this one. So to do that, we have to go to the code editor and then come to the content CSS. Okay, content CSS. Yes. So we come to the content CSS, and then over here I give a lot of spaces, and then we say that the About Us section. Okay, so the About Us section has a class. What is the class? I think About Us section. Okay, About Us section. Let's see if it's correct. So About Us section, that is the section, and then we have to do this. Give it a background of white and then a padding top and bottom of what? 50 pixels. So this is what it's going to be. You see, before this, before then, this one was just sitting this side, but now we have a nice space in between them. Okay, and so we can see that because we have added some content, we can see that the changes is being seen. You see, when we scroll, the image at the hero section is not moving, right? What is happening here is because of the background attachment of fixed. This is why this thing is fixed and it's not moving, right? Very good. So we have this one here, but of course we are not done. So what we are coming to do is we are coming to make sure that this one will be a 2 column. Okay, you can see this one, there are 2 columns. It's not 1 column as we are seeing here. So that is what we are coming to do. So to do that is very simple. We have to come here and then target the container. Okay, you can see that this particular container here is what we are going to target. So to target that, we have to select the About Us section and then container. Okay, this means there is a container inside the About Us section, right? You have to bring a space. So if you bring the space, this one will be a child. So a child inside this one. All right, so we have to use a property in CSS called grid. Okay, grid. We can as well use the display flex, but we are going to use the grid also. So to do that, simply set the display property to grid. When you set the display property to grid, now it's about time we tell CSS that we want only 2 columns. Okay, so to tell the CSS we want 2 columns, there's another property called grid template columns. How many columns? It is 2. So use the keyword. We can say auto. Okay, so auto simply means the first one auto means 1 column, another auto means another column. So first column and then what? Second column, right? That means 2 columns. But you can also change this one and call it repeat 2 and then auto, right? That will give you a 2 columns. Yeah, 2 columns. And then the auto you are seeing here is supposed to be the size. Okay, so I can say that the first column I want to give it a weight of 400 pixels, and then the second one I want to give it a weight of 10 pixels. Look at what happens here. When we come here, this is what you are seeing. But of course, the image, we have to do some few more adjustment to the image. That is why it is behaving this way. Okay, it needs to be adjusted. Okay, and yeah, that is why. but you can see, of course, see that the size here have changed. The image too as well have changed. You will see it as we are moving on. So what I'll do is I'll just paste this, duplicate this one, and then comment this one. So I go back to the auto. So auto will change it to this way. Okay. As for the automatic, it will automatically detect the size of the content and then give it a weight that will be that will fit the content. And then you see this guy here is not ready to be small, so he's taking all the weight, but that is not it. We can do something to it. Okay, all right, so that is it. What I'll do is the image. So let us target the image. We know that we have only one image in this particular section, right? Only one image in this section. That is the one located here. So what I'll do is I'll just call this container. When I call this container, this class, and I'll tell this class that any image that is located inside as a child, pick it, right? It is only one pair. We have only one this image. So this is what it's going to call. What I'll do is, so about us section img. Okay, so the image inside the about us section. And quickly let us paste this. So we simply give the image a weight of 100% and then a height of auto. Okay, giving it a height of auto, we just set the height to the default height, and then the object fit of cover. I am going to explain what the object fit does. So I will first comment it out, and then we will look at something here. So going to the browser, we can see that now this is what we have. You can see that our site is looking good already, right? Our site is looking good already. So look at something. It seems at the moment it seems at the moment our this thing, let me give it a height of 150 pixels. Okay, so with 150 pixels we can come here and then we can see that. Okay, all right, then let me straightforward, since I'm not getting what I want, let me explain it for you. The object fit, you see, sometimes you can put an image on a page and then you see the image is sometimes stretchy, it's not fitting this, the container so well. When we use the object fit, it will simply fit the image. For instance, the original image has a width of 20 pixels and a height of 20 pixels. So if you use CSS to change the width to maybe 500 pixels and then the height to 200 pixels, you can clearly see that you are changing the width and height for the original image. So with that, it's not going to be visible. It's not going to be clear, right? What the object fit does is it makes sure that even though the image is not having its original width and size, but then it will still fit whichever dimension you gives it, right? Okay, so as we go on to do the shelf and then the menu side, we will be using the object fit so well, so you will be understanding it. Don't worry if you don't get it. A more practicals will come along. So I said something here I want us to demonstrate. Okay, it's a project, but we are still learning something, right? So what I will do is, you see, this was the original. Let me uncomment this one, and then let me comment and uncomment this one instead, and then you can see that we have only one column. Okay, why are we seeing this one? We are seeing this because we've given the image only 10 pixels, and then 10 pixels is not even visible here, right? It's not even visible here. So this auto simply means it is the width that we are specifying. Okay, it is the width that we are specifying. So if we give it 120, we want to tell CSS that we want the first item to occupy this width, and then the second item to also have this width. That is it, right? So you can see that now the image is small here. Yes, the image is small here, but I will advise you to always go with the auto. I simply have to say this so that you guys will understand why we are using the auto. Okay, but the thing is, it should always be auto, unless maybe you have a reason, then you change it to a defined width that you want, right? Very good. So now you can see that the thing is looking good already, but when you come here, you can see that we have a space here. right? So to achieve that, what we have to do is we head back to the code editor and then we make some changes to the P. We make changes to the P. So we come here, that is inside the first column. So inside the first column, we can see that we have text wrapper. Okay, so the text wrapper, that is where we have the P, the text that we want to manipulate. I'm talking about this side. It is in the text wrapper. So what I'll do is I want to give this particular one. You see this one we are seeing here. How many P are on the page? The P are 2. This is the first one, and then this is what? The second one. What I want to do is I want to target the second one. Now remember, selectors, we've done this one. If you don't understand, you can go and then check through the playlist, but we have it. So what I will do is we will use CSS selectors to select the last element here, last child here. When we select it, then we give it a margin top. Okay. Some can simply apply BR. Okay, we can simply put BR to give a line break. But I want to, since I want to bring everything we have done so far into the project so that we can understand it practically, that is why I am using the selectors. So quickly, what I'll do is I say about us section, and then from there, I have to, let me quickly paste things. So this is it. You see, about us section. Inside the about us section, there was a child called text wrapper. Okay. And then inside the text wrapper too, inside the text wrapper, you know, we have a couple of P. There are many. We have 2 P's. So the P, we want to select the last child. So the last P child will be what? Will be my guy here. And when you select it, give it a margin top of 15 pixels. That is why we are having what you are seeing, right? Hope you understand. Very good. But if you don't understand, you can just go back and then try to, replay the video. I'm sure there you understand. Very good. But now it's left with the responsiveness, because we can't have this on our Android phones, because for Android phones the columns has to change. So for the column to change, we have to use what? CSS media queries, right? That is very good. So to use the media query, we have to head back to our code editor and then apply the media query. So one thing is, each time that you build a particular section in your page, what you do is you have to do the responsive, okay, for that particular section. So you can see that when we built the navbar, we did the responsive. When we finished the navbar to the panel info, we did the responsive. Each section that you finish, you have to make sure that responsive has been done, right? Very good. So let's continue. So at media query, media screen, and then I want to target Android phones. So max 768 pixels. This is the small phones. And what I want to do is, if it is a small phone, it is very simple. What I want to do is I want to change the colon, okay, colon from 2 to 1. So over here, grade template columns should be 1. Okay, so this is the only thing that we are changing, and then responsive is set. Okay, it looks simple, right? Yeah, so that is it. Over here, the entire screen, the large screen, from tablet upwards, they have two columns. When it is when the screen width is up to 768 pixels and downwards, they will have 1 column. So we go to the page, and then we see that this is the page now. Very good. So you can see, right? We can see perfectly that our image, our section is now having the columns, just like this one. Okay, just like this one. So that is it. Right? All right. So don't worry. I can see that you are seeing this one here, but we are not seeing it with our own. We will fix this very soon. All right, we'll fix it very soon. Why I didn't do this one is because there we weren't having a lot of pages here. So since we weren't having a lot of page, we won't have a way of scrolling to get it on top. Okay, but we will do everything you see in the final project. All right, very good. So that is it. We have our about section completed together with the, how do you call it, together with the responsive, right? So there was one thing I also want to say. Let's add one thing here called grade gap. Okay, so the grade gap is simply the spaces in between the columns. So the grade gap is the space in between the columns, right? You won't see anything here, but then it has applied a space in between the two columns. It will come here, it will come here, but because this one has no background, it won't be seen, but it is there. As we move on, we will be exploring more of it so that you understand. But grade gaps simply give gaps to the columns. So if it is 5, 4, 1, 2, as for 1 it's not part, but more than 1 it will give. All right, so that is good. Now let's go to the next section. That is what? The chef. This is where we have our chefs. Okay, they are here. And then we are going to look at how we can do this so that when we hover, we can have the image, and then we can have the small description here. When we take it out, everything is gone. Looking nice, right? That is it. So we are going to look at how we can also do this particular one. Very good. So now let's go back to the HTML, and then let's do this code editor. Then come back to the HTML. So let me just close this one, give some 2 spaces, and then on the third one I bring my comment. I call it the chef sections. Okay, the chef sections. So let's create the section. So section, and then we call it the chef section. Okay, and then we also have to give it an ID. So you bring the hash and then the name of the ID, that is chef section. Then you hit enter. Okay, so first thing first, so you have to add a container here, and then we have a bunch of things that we will add here. So looking at this side, you see we have the meet our chefs and then small description about them, right? This is not at the left side, unlike this one is at the center, so we have to put it at the center. So to put this one at the center, what we have to do is we have to come here, and then let's quickly create one general class that will be used everywhere, because you know that this one is also at the side. We don't want to be repeating ourselves with the lines of code. So let's create one general class that we will use here, and also we will use here. All right, so to do that, we simply have to come here and head over to the style.css, since that is what we are using for our general styles. So over here I'll create a class. Okay, I'll create one class, and then I'm just simply going to call it center content. So center content will simply have a text aligned to center like this. Okay, the class is center content, and then the code is simply one line. Text align is set to center. That is it. So we will have center content here, center content here, and inside the center content, this is what we are going to do. So I am simply going to paste the title M. Title M simply means the medium title. We have the title L for title large, title M for title medium. Okay, and then our description. So if you go back to the page, we can see that it is looking good already. All right, it is looking good already. So this is what we have. I don't think you will see it because my screen is small, but it is there. It is there. You can see it's here, right? This is it. this is it. So we have to all right, so let's continue. Let's continue. When we are halfway, you can come and then look at the changes. All right, so from here what we have to do is, when we look at the final project here, we see that from here this is what we just did. So the next thing is what? The image together with the cat, right? So let us do that one as well. So yes. So what I'll do is, let me come here and then let me create a div and call it column. Okay, so this column is where we have the images, and then the image and then some small description of the image. I'm talking about this one, the image, and then a small description of the image. So to do that, we simply have here, now it's a whole lot, so let me simply paste it and then I'll explain. Okay, yeah, so that is it. This is it. So the explanation. All right, so let me say this one, please. If you just join us, if you have not subscribed, consider subscribing to the channel, seeing that taking time to explain every concept like this is not really easy. It has to take a lot of time and preparation. So consider giving us subscribe, like the video, and also give us a thumbs up, which is like us, right? Share it with your friends also. When we see that we keep on, we are motivated to also bring new content like this one, right? So yeah, that is what I will say. Let's continue. So you can see that now this is the column, right? A column we have created. This is the wrapper, so everything is inside the column. Okay, and then we have one div called card, right? Don't get confused over here. If you confuse yourself, the whole thing is not going to work. So we have the card, okay, and then you can see that inside the card we have one div, that is what? Image wrapper. And then image wrapper is where we are is where the image is, the image of the chef, the image of the team or the chef, however you call it. This is the image. It is inside the img wrapper. And then we also have the card info. So the card info is what we see when we hover. Yes, so when we do the hovering, the card you are seeing, join us on Telegram at Code with Ibra. That is what you are seeing. So I minimize it back, and then yeah, that is it. This one is done with font awesome. So you copy it, you paste it, you get the same feel and style. And then the last thing is 2 paragraphs. Okay, so we have the name, that is John Cabbage, right? John Cabbage. And then the description is simply what a person, the position of the person. So this is what we have, the card, and then the card has an image enclosed in a wrapper called img wrapper, and then the card info that has the icon and then some other text. Very good. So from there we also go down here, and then you add your 2 P's with the titles, and then yes, and then yeah, I think that is all. This is the card. Okay, so this is the card. The rest is just a copy and paste. So you copy this one, you just copy and paste them. So we copy, paste, copy, paste. Okay, so if you are just joining us, consider watching the previous videos, because we have some setups that we've done so far. If you did not watch the setups, you are going to be confused. So this is it. Okay, we have the images, and then we have the image is here, and then this is the one that will be shown, that will display when we hover. Then we have the name, John Cabbage. John Cabbage is a kitchen officer. This guy must be a good cooker. I think he's a woman, right? Looking at the fish crawl, that means she's professional. All right, so that is just by the way. Don't mind my jokes. And yeah, let me just minimize the cards. So what you see here, you can see that the column is the container, is the overall parent for all the card, right? All the card. So I'm going to target this particular guy and do some styling. But how can I do that? I need to first go to the chef section, and then over there I tell the chef section that I'm looking for a particular child inside that is called colon. Okay, that has a class called colon, and everything will work out, right? All right, so let's continue. I'll give some spaces, and then I give it this one. So one thing is, if you are working with CSS and you have a lot of pages, you see my own is just one page. If you have a lot of pages, you try to create a separate CSS file for each page. Okay, that is good advice. So that is this is the, how do you call it? Is the chef section. So chef section. Now the chef, this thing is confusing me. The chef section has this class, so let me target it. The chef section. Okay, so this section is particularly the whole thing here, where the whole thing here. Okay, this is it. So if you look at this one, you see that there are some space on top. It has some space on top, but ours doesn't. So to get that, we have to give it some margins and padding. So padding instead. So padding, top, bottom 50 pixels, but left and right is 0. I think that should give us some, yes. And then you can see this one too is closer to the image. We want to also give some spaces around them. And you see the meet our chef and then the friendly blah blah blah, they are all coming from they all have the parent. This is their parent, the text center. Okay, the text center. So we simply target this one and give some style. So very easy to do that. We simply say the chef section has another one called the center content. The chef section has another child called center content. That means we have targeted this particular one, and then we will give it a margin top and bottom of 50 pixels, and then the left and right of what? 0. Left and right of 0. So with that, we can now come back and see that we have some space around them, and it is looking good already, right? Just like this one. Okay, so now we have our images, our chefs, they are ready. Okay, but of course we want to have 3 columns. We don't want to have 1 column like this one. So to do that, we simply come here and then we target the parent of the cards. So we can see that the parent of the card is what? Is the column. That means this is the one that we are going to apply either the flexbox property, display flex, or the display grid. So display grid and display flex, they must always be applied to the parent, to the immediate parent of an item, right? So since we want the images to be flexed, we will apply the display flex or the display grid to the column that is their parent. So how do you target this one? We simply say that, okay, if you go to the chef section, the element with a class called column, that is the one we want to target. So very simple. This is how it is. Chef section and then column. When you get there, you set the display to grid, and then the grid template column. That is the number of how do you call it, columns we want to have. So ordinarily on the larger screen, I want to have only 3 columns. So I can say auto. But of course, there's a shorter way of doing this. The shorter way is simply by using the repeat. So repeat how many times? 3 times. What are the values or what are the weight you want to give them? I want to give them an automatic size. That is auto, right? So with this, we can come and then we see that now it is sitting at the center. Now don't look at what is going on here. We are going to fix it, right? We are going to fix it. And then you see, mind you, I was talking to you about a property called grade gap. So I told you that with a grade gap, what it does is it just gives some spaces in between the columns, right? So right now we have 3 columns and then they are just clustered together. So in order for us to give them space, some spaces in between, we have to use a property, another property called the grade gap. So grade gap, we give it 20 pixels. So with that, we can come back and check and see that now we are having some nice spaces in between. Okay, but then the image is not looking good. So for us to make the image look good, there are some few adjustments that we can do, right? So the adjustment is simply let me come back here and then target the image. But how can we target the image? So if I want to target all the 3 images, we know that when we come to the chef section, there's only one image. That is this image. When we call the img, it will select all the images inside the card, and that is what we want. Okay, yeah, that is what we want. If we select the chef section, we want to select all the images that will be found inside. So to do that, it is very simple. What I do is I simply say the chef section and then img. That will select all the images that we have, like this one. Okay, like this one. You can add the card, but it doesn't really it's not really necessary. So what we do is the image, first of all, okay, let me just copy and paste so that we can see it clearly fast. We can move fast because we don't have a lot of time. Okay, we don't have a lot of time. So let me just copy and paste to that, and then I'll explain. So for us to understand it, let me take it step by step. Okay, so look at the image. Now this is how they are looking like. They are not fitting the screen. Okay, now each time you give an image a weight of 100%, no matter what, the image will behave. Each time you give an image a weight of 100%, the image will behave. You see, by default, it's not behaving. You see the behavior it was putting up. Okay, so this is one key. When you give it a weight of 100%, it will behave. So they are sitting correctly the way they should, right? I think this is looking good already, but there are some other things we can still do. So going forward, you can see that we have applied a transition of 0.3 linear. I'll come back to this one. But what it simply means is, you see, when we put the image, there's some transition. Okay, that is what the transition is doing. That is why you are seeing this transition. And then the height, simply the height is the height. The height is the height. So we've given it a height of 400 pixels. Now watch what we have. Yes, so this was, you see, I was explaining about a property called the object fit. You can see now that we have changed the dimension of the image. When you see your image looking like this, it simply means that the width and the height that you have specified, or one of them, is not equal to the original image. Okay, so the original image doesn't have a weight of, it doesn't have a weight of 400 pixels, but I have given it 400 pixels. So in that case, it is not looking good, right? Just like stretched way. So to do that, we introduce the object fit. So the object fit will simply fix this issue and make it look good. So object fit has a lot of properties. We have the contain, we have the cover. So if you do the contain, it will just occupy the part it can and then leave the rest blank. That is it. It will just occupy the part it can. Under normal circumstance, this one, the card is supposed to come up to this side. Okay, supposed to span up to this side. But because the image won't fit there, it will simply take the aspect or the dimension that it think it will make the image look good. That is what the contain does. But if you do the cover will simply cover whatever dimension, whatever width and height you have specified. It will cover the whole container, right? So I chose cover. So now I have the cover, right? Very good. Now we are not done. We have to now do this one, do the apply some styling for This one, I'm talking about this one. Okay, so let's go to the code editor, and then this one we will release it very soon. I will comment this one to see the changes. So what we do is now I want to target the how do you call it? I want to target the card info. Okay, I want to target the card info. So quickly, let me come here. So the chef section dot card info. Okay, so this is a lot of styles. So let me paste it, and then we would explain. Right. So display flex, position absolute. Okay, and then we know align item center. So this is the style that simply we have given to our our division, the card info div. Okay, so yes, the bottom simply means that by default it is hidden. Okay, it is hidden, it is at the down there, it will not be visible. Right, so you can see that this is how it's looking, and now it is very red and it is very ugly. Okay, so let's do a few more adjustments to it so that we can have what we are really looking for. So go back to the code editor, and then let's do the fix. So why this thing is happening is, you see, for positions, when you set a position absolute, it will be the div will be absolute, or the particular element will be absolute to the entire window of the page. Okay, the entire window of the page. So this is the entire window of the page. So the absolute will be absolute. That means it can be moved up and down, left and right, anywhere. It can be manipulated irrespective of the container is inside. It can move anywhere on the page. You can try going to our CSS, CSS tutorials for beginners, and then go and then look at the position absolute. Okay, position absolute. Try and then watch the videos on positions. You can understand everything, because I've taken the time to explain everything in depth there. So now what we are seeing here, the only way we can fix it is we can just simply give a command. Now we want to tie this particular thing you are seeing here. We want to tie it to the image. Okay, to this particular card. We want to tie it here, but then it is not getting, it is not being fixed inside this particular card. And then how we can fix this one is very simple. We have to target the parent of the card, the card actually. We have to target this card. Okay, so when we target this card, we will tell this card that, okay, you card, we are making you in such a way that any item that you have, any child that you have, that will have a display, that will have a position of absolute or fixed or whatever it is, should be sticked inside you. So we want all the children that will be absolute to be sticked inside the card and not the whole window as we are seeing here. Now it is everywhere. We want it to be here, inside here. Alright, so it's not a lot of talking. Let us look at the code. So to do that, simply we have to select the chef section, and then we go forward to select the card. So when we select the card, we do that by saying position relative. That means we've prepared this card in such a way that any child of it that has a display of absolute will be stacked inside this particular card. It will be stacked here. It won't get to the window level as we were seeing. So we see now it is stacked inside the class, and we did it with simply the display relative. Very good. I think the site is looking good already. Okay, let me give it one thing. Let me call it overflow hidden. So overflow hidden, I will comment this one. I will release it later on so that we understand what the overflow does. Okay, yeah, so over here what we did is, you see the button of -20. When we take it out, look at what happens when we take it out. Oh, okay, I think the changes is not being visible though. It's not being visible though. So let's continue. When I get to that particular portion, we will look at how everything is happening behind the scenes. So just pause the video and then copy the styles that we have declared over here. All right, very good. Let's continue. All right, so let me view it once more, and then we can look at how we can do it. So this is how it's looking like. Okay, this is how it's looking like. We are having the card, and then the what we want the hover to show, it is here. Okay, so this is what we are doing. You can see that under normal circumstance, this is the card. Okay, this is the card. Watch carefully, and then the card ends somewhere here. Okay, the card ends somewhere here. This is where the card ends. So the black guy here is overflowing. Okay, it is outside. It is outside the main thing here. I mean, it's outside the card, which shouldn't be. So in order for us to get this one off, because under normal circumstance, it shouldn't show. It is only when we hover that we want it to show. So to do that, we simply have to come back, and then this thing that I uncommented. So let me uncomment this one. So I have now set the overflow to hidden. That means if any child is overflowing the parent, which is the card, it should be hidden. Okay, so that means it is not there. So why we were able to get this is because of the negative distance. If I take the bottom of 120, you see that it will come. This is how it's looking. Okay, so the bottom of negative 120 is simply pushing the content down, so that when the content is down, it will overflow the parent. Then the overflow hidden will make it invisible, so it will not be seen. It is clear, right? Yes, so that is it. As for this one, there are just some styling I gave to, so that the content of this thing will be at the center, and then the font size, the padding. This is not something you've not seen before. That is why I didn't even go by explaining everything here, because you know already. Okay, and then the left 0, you know what it does. The width 100% too, you know. The only thing that can confuse you is the button. That is why I just explained. Okay, yes, and then we've given it transition so that we can have some, some nice transitions. All right, so now let us now look at how when we hover, we will have this thing there, the card move inside the image. How we can do that? So to do that is very simple. What you do is you have to let me say come to the code editor, and then you select the card. So let's look at the logic. The logic is when we hover on the card. Now this whole thing is the card. Okay, the card is containing the image and then the titles. So when we hover on the card, we want the info to show. When we take it out, the info is gone, like this one. When we hover, it shows. When we take it out, it goes. Now, how you can do it is very, very simple with CSS. That is why I love it so much. So to do that, we have to go to the code editor and select the card, this particular guy. Okay, this particular guy. So this is the logic. So we say that the chef section dot card, that means the card inside the section in the card inside the chef section. This thing is confusing me. So what we do is we will tell it that when we hover, okay, when we hover on the card, we want the card info. Okay, so we want the card info to have a display of flex, and also, okay, it doesn't matter, we don't need a display flex. We want to give it a bottom. We want to give it a bottom of let me see, a bottom of 30 pixels, right? Let's see. So let me give it a button of 30 pixels. So look at this. Look at the logic here. Now don't be confused over this one. What we do is the chef section, inside this particular chef section, there is a child called card, And when we hover on that card, okay, when we hover on this card, we want the card info to have this particular style. Okay, so look at it. When we hover, we want it to have this style. When we take it out, it should go right. I hope you're understanding it. It is looking very good already. Okay, yes, you take it out. That is it. When we hover, we want the card to have this property. So whatever property you declare here, whatever property you define here will be applicable only when you hover, right? But then we only want the 30 pixel button. So what is doing the show? What is doing the show is simply the button here. It is this button that we are using to do the whole thing here. So negative 120 pixels will make the card info overflow. It will make it overflow its parent, and because we've set the overflow hidden, it will not be shown. It will be invisible. Then on hover, we give it a button of 30 pixels so that it will be seen, right? Very good. So let me say it once again. Oh, before I continue on, if you've not subscribed, kindly consider subscribing. Give us your comment and also like the video. Share with your friends. You are learning something, so you want your friends to also learn. At the same time, you want to help us improve this channel so that we can have the time to bring new content, right? Knowing that taking time to explain everything here is not really easy everywhere. Okay, it's not easy everywhere. So for us to also bring some advanced and then deep topics like the ones in JavaScript and PHP and other things, you have to help us promote the channel so that we can give out our best. All right. Okay, so thank you so much, and let's continue. So with this done, we can know that when we look at the original, when we hover the image, you see the image is coming up, right? And then when we take it out, it goes inside. It come up, it goes inside. So to do that is very simple. It is similar. What we do is we tell CSS that, okay, CSS, when we hover the card, we want the image to have a particular style, right? That is it. So I want you guys to pause the video and then do it, and when you are done, you continue like watching the lectures. Okay, so thank you so much for trying. If you were able to try, that is good. If you couldn't, that is also good. Let's do it together. So I say that the chef section has a card inside as a child, and when we hover on that card, we want the image that is inside to have these properties. So a transform scale of 1.2, this is what will push the image upwards. It's like it will zoom in, and then opacity of 0.6 will simply make the image transparent. Okay, and make it a little bit transparent. So look at what happens. This is the final project. This is ours. So when we push it, very good. All right. So you can see that it is not looking good. Everything is fine, but then it is sharp, right? Things are happening faster. It is sharp. So to make it simple, what we can do is I will have to come here, and then there is one thing that I commented out. So I will uncomment the transition. Mind you, you can see that the image, okay, the image inside the card, okay, the image inside the card. Let me add a card so that you can understand it perfectly. But if you don't add a card to it as well, it will work. So the image inside the card, look at the transition it's having all 3 seconds and then what, linear. This kind of transition should be the same as the card info. When it is the same, things will look good. They will move the same, and then they will exit the same, right? So you can see they move the same, they go out to the same, they move the same, they go out to the same. Okay, right? So that is how you can do it. And then of course you see there are some few you see this one has a color green and then blah blah blah, so you can see here. Yeah, so to do that is very simple. We have to come back to the class, come back to the CSS, and then apply some styles to that. So when we come here, we can see that when we, let me expand this one. and then the card info. We can see we have this one. We've given it, this one is called it Telegram link, okay, a class. And then we also have that is an icon of the Telegram. So simply, I will simply let me copy and then paste. Okay, we want to finish early so that we can look at different things. So that is it. So the Telegram link has the color green and then a font weight of what? Of bold. And then the card I. So card I simply means the I in the card. So every I in the card will be selected. So that is the Telegram icon. So now you can see that we are having the same look as the original one, right? As the original one, that is it. Very good. So this is looking good already, but of course we need to do the responsive. Okay, we need to do the responsive. You can see over here it's not looking good, right? And aside that, over the on or the smaller screen, we will take out the responsive. You can see that here. We will take out the info. You can see that over here the info is not being shown. Okay, that is what we are coming to do here. So let me maximize, go to the code editor, and then go to the CSS section, and then let's start the whole thing. But before continuing, you can see that over here on the larger screen, it is what? It is 3, right? 3 columns. So what I want to do is I want to make it in such a way that when it is on tablet, it will be 2 columns. Okay, 2 columns each, right? So to do that, I come and then we use our best friend, that is CSS media queries, at media screen and max width of 992 pixels for the tablet view. And then with that one, I'll simply change the column, right? I'll change the column to what? To 2. So chef section. Okay, so already have it. We already have that. Change it, and then I give it grade template column of what? Repeat 2 of auto. Alright, so when we do it this way, then when it is in the tablet view, it will be 2 columns, right? So this is 2 columns, exactly as this one. You can see this one is 2 columns, this one too is what? 2 columns, right? And when it is on smaller screen, I want it to be 1 column. So I hope you can do that. So if you can do that, you pause the video and then you do yourself. When you are done, you come and then watch it. Okay. All right. So let's continue on the Android or small phones. That is 768 pixels. What I will do is I will simply change everything here to 1 column. That is auto. So with that, we can see that on the tablet it is 2. As we reduce, when it gets to the mobile, it is now what? It is 1, right? It is 1. It is 1. It is 1. But then I want to remove this info thing here, right? I want to remove it on the mobile view. I don't want it to be seen there, of course. But it's not bad too if it's there, right? Okay, so over here, I just removed it. I removed it, but I think when it is there, it's looking good. It's not bad. What do you think? So let's just leave it as it is. Okay, let's leave it as it is. So what I'm going to do now is very simple. I am simply going to change the images. We can see that now it's only 1 image that is there. I'm going to change it so that we can have 3 other images, right? So I head back to the code editor, and then I go to the columns. This is the first image. Very good. I close the expansion. I come here and then I change this one to 2. When I finish, I have to come back here and then expand the last one, and I change it to 3. Very good. So with this, we can now come and then we see different images. Okay. All right. And then the responsive is all set. On top is responsive set, is set, is set, in that order, right? That is nice. So we are not done. We are not done. We are not done, right? We are not done. It's left with few others. So we are going to the menu. We are going to the menu. Okay. We are going to the menu, and this is the menu. This is the menu. So that is also very simple. So to do that, we have to go to the code editor and then create our menu section in the HTML. Very good. Okay, so if you are enjoying the show, kindly give us a like, a subscribe, share the videos to your friends, recommend the channel to your friends. You can, that is it, so that they can also enjoy. Let them be aware that we are on Telegram, that is Code with Ibra. That is where everything is happening. So they have to join the Telegram channel as well, so that you won't be missing any update, because when there's an update, that is where we push it first. Try and also turn on the notification, so that each time that we post a new video, you will not miss it. Okay, very good. Now let us come down here. So 1, 2, and then on the third one will be my comment. That is the menu section. So the menu section has to start with section, has a class of menu section, and then has an ID of the menu section. So that is it. We hit enter, and then everything has to come inside the container, so that it will be perfectly aligned. And then from there, I think it is similar to the first one. You see, it is similar to this one. This thing that is at the center is also equal to this particular guy here, or the only change is the content inside. So to do that, I'll simply go and copy and then paste, so that we move faster, right? That is it. So come back here and then paste the guy here. So when we paste it here, you can see that the title is our menu, and then the description is what? They are nice and friendly, right? Now the text description doesn't really make a lot of sense when you read them, because we are not really doing English grammar here. We are just looking at how we can form things with CSS and HTML. Okay, so you are at liberty of changing it to look like how you want it to be, right? Okay, and let me also say this: if you are here and then you want me to do a project for you, a student project, a business project, whatever project it is, you are free to contact me, right? You are free to email me, and we will talk about it, right? So let's continue. Now we can see that when we go to the browser, we have it here. We have our menu here, but of course we are not seeing it unless we go down. So let me just go down. Okay, let us go down before. So, and looking at the original one, we have the image and then also some small description: American breakfast, and then it's $11. Okay, African best, and then also whatever you call it, that is it, is there. So yes, what I'll do is I'll have to come to the HTML, and then we continue. Okay, so let me create column. Okay, let me create column. So inside this column, that is where we will put our content, but it's a whole lot, so I just want to paste it. Okay, so when I paste it, it's very simple. So it is menu section, so you can see that we have menu section card. Okay, menu section card. This is the menu section card. Okay, and then we have an image. Let me take this one out, and then we have an image. So the image is the image you saw, and then we have a card info also. So the card info is the one that displays the title and also the price. So you can see that it's only two things that are inside: the image and also what? The card info. And then the whole thing here is parented by the menu section. Okay, this is the main container of it, and that is it. So this is what we will just copy and paste, but then now it is only one. So let me go to the styling and do some couple of styles. and from there we can begin. So I give some lot of space, and then I call this one the menu section. So over here I say that menu section, and you can see the menu section has a different background. This one has the default background of the body, but the menu section has a background of white. So I have to say that the background is what is white. Then we can see that our menu is now having a white background. That is looking good already. And just as we did for here, we have to give a padding of 50 pixels top button to the menu section, and also the text, the center content. So this is what I'm trying to say. Padding of 50 pixel top and bottom, and then when we come here, the menu section has a center content. Okay, we could have even give this to the center content so that we don't need to always specify them, but the same. So margin of 50 pixels top and bottom, and left and right of 0, and then we can see this here, right? This is what we are seeing here. So yes, we have the American breakfast here. Yeah, we have it here, and then the image is also there. So let's do a couple of styling to them, right? Okay, so let's continue. Yeah, and for the sake of time, I want us to finish everything. It's getting to 1 hour already, so let me just paste this one. Okay, and so this is it. The menu section card. That is simply this particular card. Okay, so this one, we've given it a position of relative, and then overflow of what? Hidden. You know overflow of hidden already, so that is it. And then the image, that is, we are talking about the image inside there, the food image, the menu's image. We've given it a weight of 100%. Each time you don't specify a weight to your image, they will misbehave. So you give it 100%, and they are sitting quietly. We have specified a height and an object fit together with transition. By the transition, all right, so no problem, transition, that is it. Okay, so let's look at the changes that we have. So this is now the changes we have. Okay, 100% is sitting nicely, even though it's taking everything, but it is still nice. Now the next thing we are going to be focusing on looking at now is the this one that we are seeing, the title of the breakfast, the title of the menu, and the price. So to do that, we have to come here, and then okay, so yes, so that is, we want to target the card info and apply some styles. Okay, yeah, but of course, because of, let us do a copy paste, and then we explain few, we move on. So this is it, the card info. Okay, we have now targeted the card info. We've given it a background of black, and then a color of white, then a padding, okay, and then a display flex. So the display flex, if the display flex is not there, you look at what will happen. So this is it. When the display flex is not there, this is how it is. Okay, the background black and then the color white has been applied, but then the display flex is taken out. So the moment we add a display flex, that is when you see that the display is kicked in, the price is sitting somewhere, and then the blah blah blah. Okay, that is it. So you can see that someone is asking what is blah blah blah. So the blah 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 simply means the other properties of the display flex is now kicked in. Okay, for instance, you can see that the title and the price are spaced between. Okay, the space between came about as a result of the justify content space between. And then the align items also, it is the align items that is making the price and then the breakfast. You see, they are sitting on the same line. No one is on top, they are on the same line, and that comes about as a result of this particular one. All right, the display absolute, this one, you know, this one. So absolute is making it stick at the button. Okay, it's making it stick at the button, and will not move, just at the button, right? All right, so that is it. And then when we come down here, you see we have card menu section P. So the P in the menu section card, this is the menu section card. Where is the P? We are talking about these guys here. So we've given them font of 18 pixels and then a font weight of normal. So they have a normal font, right? So that is it. We are done with this one. So let us just copy and then paste them a couple of times and then look at what now we have. So copy this one and then paste 4 times. So okay, so 3 times now. So when I copy and paste 3 times, look at what now we have. Okay, so we can achieve we can have some columns, some from some, let me see how many columns. So 3. So we can have our 3 columns using the grid. Okay, using the grid. So what I'll do is we simply come here, but of course you need to know that all the menu section cards, they are inside column. Column is their container, so this is where the grid will be applied. Okay, so we select this one and then we tell this one that we are looking for an element that you have as a child that has a class called column. So to specify that, we can simply say that the menu section that has this one column. Okay, then we give it a display of grid and then the grid template columns of what repeat 3 times, and then it should all have a weight of auto. So then this is what we are going to have. So you can see that we are having so we are having them sitting next to each other, 3 columns. Okay, now we have to use the one other property, that is the grid gap. So the grid gap will just introduce some spaces in between the columns as you are seeing here. Okay, that is it. Now I want to change the images and also the names, the images and then the names. So to change the image, the first one has an image 1 with the name American Breakfast. What is the second one? Let us look at its name. Okay, so let me use this one, African Breast. So African Breast is also there. We come here and then let me give it the name African Best. Those of you in Africa, you know Africa, we taste a lot of correct food, eh? So 45, okay, $45, and then the image is 2. All right, and so from there we also come here and then let me see Chinese best, even though it's talking about coffee shop, but then anything else is inside. Mind you, it's not really straight to the brand name, just to show us a way of doing things. So let me see. So this one is the image 3, and of course let's add the last one, that is the image 4. So the image 4, we copy and paste. We simply change this, we make it Nigerian. I love Nigerian so much. I'm planning of getting there. So if you are on my channel and you are from Nigeria, just comment hi or just say something that will make me know that you are from Nigeria. Okay, I want to connect with you. Okay, so Nigerian dish, or let me say Nigerian coffee. Do Nigerian have coffee? I don't really think so, but yeah. So 113. Nigerian things are really expensive. So yeah. With this, we can change the image from 4 to the 3 to the 4. Let's collapse them so that they fit the screen. So 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 sections now, and then all the 4 sections. This is the other one. This one is the final project, the finished one. The one we are working on is this one. We can see that there's no hover. It's not being hover. It's not showing anything. Okay. So now let us add the hover, so that when we hover, we put the mouse on, we can see some hovering. So to do that is very simple. We have to head to the CSS and we say that, okay, so the menu section card, okay, no, not this one. Okay, yeah, sure, the card. when we hover the card, we want the image inside to have a transform scale of 1.2. Okay, of 1.2. So let us collapse the long one so that it looks simpler. All right, that is it. So when we come here and then we hover, we can see that our own tool is responding. It's now good. But then you can let me show you this one. See, you can see that we have transition here. When we take out the transition, it is not going to look good. So if you do your own and your work is not really looking good, it's not looking fine, it's because you forget to add a transition. So adding the transition will make it smooth. Okay, and then don't forget to also add the overflow heading. Okay, overflow heading. When you take out the overflow, it is always good to add the overflow heading. When I took out the overflow heading, you see what we are having. Does this really look good for you? So the overflow heading is there so that the work, the overflow will be hidden and everything will be enclosed inside the parent. Okay, all right, time is fast spent. Let me move on faster. So now we have finished with 3 columns on larger screen, but then on a tablet I want to have 4 columns. So to do that, I have to come down here and then quickly media. Let me see if I can copy from up there. So I can, yeah, let me copy from here so that faster we can move on. Okay, so we paste it here and then I say that so it's not really the chef section, but it is this one. So we change this one to this. We change this one to this. Okay, and I think that should do it. So we come here now on, this is the smaller screen, but on the tablet mode, this is how it's going to look like. Okay, on tablet, this is how it will be on tablet. Yeah, on tablet. So that is it. It's working. And when it is on small phones, it is going to be 1 column like this. So we are coming to the end of the project. I think now it's left with the contact, and then from there we finish with what? The footer. All right, so very good. To do this, what we can do is we have to go back, as always, go back to the code editor, and then we target or we create a new section, that is the contact section. So contact section, so 1 2 1 2, and then on the third one, that is where I have my comment. So contact. So over here we simply create a section, call it contact section, and then an ID of contact section. Okay, so it should always have the container so that it can follow the alignment. And then yes, this is it. So what we do is we have to create our form. Okay, so now that we are done with this one, you can see that we have this guy sitting at the center. So to do this, what we can do is we come back here, minimize, and then we have this div that we created. We call it the center content. Okay, and then we give it a P and call it contact us. So contact us, I think that should do it. Okay, so now we have the contact us. It is there, but then I don't think you can see it. I have access, but you don't. You'll see it later. And then of course this one has a title. Okay, so title M is a class we've already created. So the title M, and then from there we create a column. Okay, and then inside this column we have our how do you call it? So we have the form. Let me paste the form here. It's a whole lot, so let's paste it. Now this is the form. Okay, this is the form, and then we have a form column. Okay, so the form column is simply how do you call it? A column that is, if we look at this one, you can see that okay, so let's move on. I'll explain this one. Okay, so we have the form input. That means this particular one, this particular guy here, we can ignore it. Okay, let me ignore this one because that concept didn't really kick in the final project, so I can't really show that here. Okay, so this is it. We have a form, and then inside the form we have this one, a container called input group. So the input group is containing the label and also the input. Okay, we have given the input form control, a class called form control. So that is it. The same thing we copy and then we paste here, and then we simply change the for with the ID, and then the class the same. Since it's an email, we have to make it of type email, right? Okay, and then the same thing happens here. So you can simply pause the video and then copy and then you paste them. Yes, but when you get here, yeah, you can see that I've given it rows of 7. So that is what you have to do. Just have to look at it how as it is, copy and then paste it. Nothing new. So now we are going to the CSS and you're going to do the styling for the contact. So quickly, let me come here and then leave some. So contact us. So with the contact us, we have to first target the section, that is the contact section. So contact section. So I'll target the contact section like this. Okay, and let me just come back and look at something here. Okay, so in the final project we see okay, so the contact section has a default background. It doesn't have any background. Okay, so look at it. This one is white, this one is the default, this one is also white, then the default, in that order. Okay, so that is it. Let me go to our own, and then this is our contact. It is looking bad already, so we have to fix it so that it can look professional. Okay, so first thing first, let me apply a padding of 50 pixels top and bottom to this one, and then when we do that, we can see that now the contact is sitting good. Okay, and then the next thing, let's work with the inputs. So I'll select the input group. Okay, that is what is wrapping this one, the input. So the input group, that is simply the input group. Okay, this input group, I'll give it a display of flex. Now mind you, when we set the display flex, this is how it's looking like. Okay, and let's continue. So we set the flex direction, we set it to column so that it will not be on a line. This is how it's looking like. Okay, each is sitting on the same line. That is looking perfect already. Let's continue. So margin button, we give it a margin button of 20 pixels so that it will have some space at the button. Okay, so this is the margin button, the subject, the message, everything is working very good. So let's move on. So in continuing, what we can do is we simply have to take out the border and the others. So to do that, we come here, you can see that all the input has the class called form control. So that means we can simply target the form control class and apply the style here. So what style are we going to apply? We are saying that okay, the background, okay, the background should be none. We don't want any background for the input. Okay, I don't want any background, but it seems it's still giving me background, so we will work around it. It will go away, don't worry. So in continuing, I see we come here and then we set the border to be also none. We want the outline to be none. So look at what now it is. We are not seeing the background, we are not seeing the border. Okay, very good. So what we can do next is we can say that the border button is 1 pixel solid, and then we give it a color of gray. So setting this, we go back to check and we see that now our form has this. Okay, when you click on it, then it gets selected, but of course it is too small, so we will apply some padding to the input. Okay, we apply some padding to the input. So here we give it a padding top and bottom of 5 pixels, 3 pixels, 5 pixels. So when we do that, this is what now we can see. And then of course, let me change the font size because it is too small. So font size of 16 pixels, and you can see that it's okay. It's not really bad. It's not really bad. Okay. And one thing I want to add is when you select, when we select, let me adjust this one. Just 1 pixel, 5 pixel. When you click on the input, I want if you select this one, there should be something that will show that this one is selected, and we can do that with the form control dot focus. So when it is focused, we want the border color to be green like this. Then when we come here, you can see that the one that is selected will be green, right? In that order. The message too, you can see that it's now green. Very good. So yeah, basically that is it. We can see that this is simply this one and then this one, right? But I think the margin is not really correct. Let me just fix the margin. So let's give it a margin padding. So the padding we give is not really good, so I take out the 1 pixel from there, and then now we have a margin of 5 in that order. Okay, and then this is our form. But of course we want this form to span to the end. Okay, we want this form this button to span to the end. If you want yours to be like this, then it is totally fine. But if you want it to span to the end of the screen like this, then you do what I'm coming to do. So what you have to do is you have to select the button, and this is the button. So BTN green. So I'll say that the form has a button. Okay, no need to specify BTN green because there's only one button in the form. So when we target the form and we go to the button, it will target the one and only button. And then we set the display to block. So setting the display to block will make the thing take up the whole page. Wow. I'm still wondering why this thing is not there, but then I'm coming. Let's fix it. Okay, so what we have to do is we have to add a width. Let's give it a width of 100% to it, so that it will take up the whole width like this. Okay, so that is about the contact page. And as for the contact, there's no need for us to do any responsive, because by default it is 1 column and it will fit on all screens. So this is how it's going to look like on small devices. It is already responsive, so no need to do anything. When you click on this one, the activated field will get selected. You can see it by the border color, okay, telling you that this is the one that is active, right? That is it. So it is all good. Let us now do the last thing. That is the footer. Okay, that is the footer. So over here you can see the footer is in how many sections? It's in 4 sections, right? This whole thing here, I'll copy and paste them because it's a whole lot. Okay, so let us now begin by coming to the HTML, and then from there we have to and then, so let's call this one the footer. So the footer has a section. As for the footer, we have a tag for it. So container like this, and then let me copy and paste the divisions, okay, because it's a whole lot. Writing it will be long, so let me copy them. Okay, so now that we have them copied, so let us paste them. So yeah, now it's a whole lot, so let us take them one by one. Okay, so you can simply pause the video and then copy along. But then we have a first column, and then the first column has these titles. This title has the coffee shop, and then we have column info. So column info has 2 P's. That is the first one you're seeing, and then the second one, nothing more, only this one. And then from there we go to the second one. That is that is this one. You also have the title M with reservation, and then nothing more, just P's, a couple of P tags inside. And then we go to the third one. The third one also have the title and then the column together with the P you are seeing. The last one also, this one is just the links. So the links has these sections, okay. But then of course we are going to make some changes to this particular ones. We are going to make some changes in this particular ones. So we call it about section. All right, so we will come back to explore this once more. But then for now, just look at how the columns are, okay. And then you copy them, and then you continue with what we are doing. So yes, that is it. And what we have to do is we have to come here, and then we are now done with the contact form. So let me give some space and then continue with the footer. So footer, as for the footer, it's not section, so just footer. Okay, and then we can see that now we have our footer here, but of course it is what it is. So the color, the background for the footer is black, and then everything is white. So we can also do that by coming here and saying that, okay, the footer has a background of what? A background of black, and all the colors are white. So the color is white, so had a white background, and then we give it a padding of top bottom of 50 pixels, and then left right of 0. This is what we have here. So you can view the changes, and you can see this is what we have. Okay, now there are some titles here, but the titles are not being visible. We are not seeing the titles. How we can do that is by changing the color from black to white, and we can do that by saying, okay, the footer has a title, a class called title M, and in that class we simply want to change the color to white. And when we do that, we can see it this way. That is perfectly fine. And so what we can do now again is we can increase the font size. Okay, the font size is too small, so we can increase it a bit. And to do that, we can come to the footer and then say that we want a font size of 16 pixels, and then that should change it a bit. 16 pixels. So this is 16 pixels, and it's not bad. So how many columns do we have? We have 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so the 4 columns, we will do that with display grid. Okay, so how we can do that is we target so all the columns are contained in which one? They are contained in the container, so they have the container as their main parent. So we target the container like this. So footer container, the container in the footer, and then we give it a display of grid, and then the grid template columns of repeat 4 times of automatic weight. So that will give us this. That will give us this one. And then of course we can see that the links are not really good. Okay, so this is not the link we want. So let us do some few adjustments to the links. Mind you, already we have created a class called link. we have a class called link. Okay, it's saying navbar link, which is not really true. But aside the navbar link, we also have to add another class. So if you want to do this, you hold Alt and then you click. You don't remove your hand. You just keep on pressing the Alt and then you click where you want to do the changes. And then when you're done, you add a class link. Okay, because already we have a class called link and we have specified some styles for it. So you can see that when we refresh, wow, this thing is not really coming. Okay, no problem. So we can simply we can change it a little bit. So let us do a change. So the footer and then a link, give it a color of what? White. So that should fix it. Okay, that should fix it. So we have our links sitting over here. We have our this one, the finders, the link, and then the others. So what we can now do next is we can just make the titles. Okay, we give some space in between the title and then the content, so the top and then the button. So we can do that by coming to the title and then saying that, so margin top and bottom of 10 pixels, left and right of 0, and then I think that should do it. So that is it. So this is now what we are having now. So it's looking good already. The only thing that is left is we want to do responsive, and by default on the tablet mode we can see that on the tablet mode is 4 columns, 2 columns. So that is what we will do, and then on the mobile view it is 1 column. So to do that, what we can do is we will so we will go to the code editor, and then let me copy what I have already here. So over here we just take all the content outside. This is the tablet mode, and then this is what the mobile the small screens. So we just tell the tablet mode that, okay, so on the tablet mode the columns should be 2, and then when it is on a smaller screen the column should be just 1. And so to do that we don't need to just auto, will be 1, and this should fix it. So we can see that over here it is 1, right? When it gets a tablet it is 2, and then finally on the larger screens everything will show. Okay, so that is it. All right, now we continue. So we continue from where? We continue, I think now we are almost done. We are coming to the end of the project. So when we click here, we can see everything comes here. Yes. So this is what I want us to fix. Okay, you can see that the images are on top of this, which is not good. So to fix that, what we have to do is, let us come back. As for the footer, we are done. So it's now a couple of things that we should fix. Okay, and then mind you, before fixing this particular issue, let us now fix the first one. You can see this one is always fixed on top. Our navigation is always fixed on top. Okay, always fixed on top. So that is what you are coming to look at first, and then later we will look at how we will fix all the other issues. Okay. All right, so if you have watched up to this point, thank you so much and congratulations. Now you can code CSS. If you did all what we did and you were able to comprehend it, then thumbs up. You are on your way of becoming CSS developer. All right. Okay, so let us continue. Okay, so I'll head to the code editor, and then we will go back to where we specified, where we gave the style for the navbar. So we give the style for the navbar in the style.css, this particular one. Okay, this is where we give a style for the navbar. So navbar should be somewhere here. Okay, so this is the one I will target, the navbar itself. So the navbar itself should have a position of sticky. So sticky means it is stacked on top, it will not be moved. Okay, but of course you can see, even though we have specified the sticky, but the sticky is not taking place. Why this is not taking place is very simple. See, if you specify a position sticky, you need to tell CSS at what position you want the sticky to kick in. So we want to say that at the top of 0 pixels. So that means it should be stacked on top. This is the position we've specified. Now we can now see that our guy is no more going, it's stacked on top. All right, and of course you can see some issues, so it will be fixed. All right, but then the only thing is you have to look at it that is working. So it provided, imagine we set it to 30 pixels. Look at what will happen. You see it leaves some space on top. Okay, it leaves some space on top, but then we don't want to have any space on top. We want it to be at the top edge, so 0 pixels will do it. Now I will give another property called z index of 4. Okay, z index of 4. We know what z index does, so z index will just make sure that it is on top of everything. Okay, and then one thing I also want to do is, you see, when a background is white and then the navigation is also by default white, you can see we can't see any differentiations. It is not bad, but I don't like it this way. So we can also give a border, can apply some shadow. Okay, we can drop some shadows. This here will drop some shadow. So dropping shadow, you can see that now because of the drop shadow, we have a very nice navigation bar. All right, I hope you like it. Very good. So this is what now we have. And then this is not the only thing. Now we have fixed the static navbar. We also want to do something else. Very good. Yes, that is it. This is what I'm expecting. So you can see that now the mobile menu is stacked inside. We can't even see it. So how we can fix it is very simple. First of all, let us come to the code editor and then do the fix. So we go to the collapse. That is when the screen is small, this particular side, we also give it a z index of 100. What we are telling this is we want the menu to be on top of everything. Okay, so if you don't understand z index, try and then go back to the CSS playlist. You can find the lecture on z index. I have explained everything there. Every concept you don't get it clearly, you can go there, you can find it. We've taken the time to explain with practicals. Okay, so that is it. Now when this is it, so we refresh the page, we come to the mobile screen, and then okay, all right, no problem, we'll fix it, don't worry. But then we can see that it's working the way it should. Okay, all right, so quickly let us provide a fix to this particular one. What we put here didn't work, so let us provide a fix. Let me minimize and then debug and see the issues. Right, okay, so I think coming back here and then refreshing will not work. Okay, so this issue is not really difficult. You can see here it's working, but then over here it's not working. So why it's not working, I think it's because of the percentage. So instead of 100%, we give it a view height. Okay, a view height, so that view height. So the view height, I'm sure view height is going to work. So you can see the view height is working. Okay, and then now we are done. Everything is fixed. Everything is totally fixed. So I click on it, it's gone. Okay, So in future, I'll teach you guys how when you when you open the navbar, then a shadow will form. You click on the shadow and then it will close. You don't necessarily have to come and click here back. Clicking any content here, any of this particular space should close the nav. So you click this part and then it's gone. You click scan, right? So now you can see that we have a responsive site that will look good on all screens, right? It look good on all screens. It look good on all screens. Everything is 100% responsive. So it's left with one last thing, and then I think we will come to the end of this section. Okay, so you see when I click on the contact section is opened. When I click on the about, it's not shown. Okay, so that is what we are coming to fix, and then yeah, see how we can do things. So what you do is, you see when we come to the page, the HTML, I mean, you can see that all the section, I specially give them an ID. So we have about us section, chef section, menu section, and then contact what section. Okay, so what we do is, at the navbar side, we go to where we have the links. Okay, so this is where we have the links. What we do is, at the home section, we want it in such a way that when you click on the home, it will take you to the home. How we can do that is, we have to match the ID of the home section. But at the moment, we don't have any home section. So I will just give us an ID to the body. Okay, like this. So all right, so no need, because by default it will take us there. No need to give any ID to the body. So by default, the hash, okay, will take us to the home. What about the about? So the about, we have to refer the ID of the about. Remember, in coding, in CSS, the hash means what? The ID. So if you bring the hash and then the name of an ID, that means clicking on it has to take you to that particular section. So the about section, this is it. So let me copy the about section and then give here, so an ID of the about section. What about the chef? We copy that one too, and then we give it to the chef section. And also we have the menu section. So I copy it, I paste, and then lastly the contact section. So I give it also here. So look at what we have now. Now when I click on the home is here. The about has to take us to the about. Okay, that is this one. The chef will take us to the chef. The menu will take us to the menu, and then the contact will take us to the contact. All right, so that is the same thing we should also do here. Okay, we should also do here, so that the links at the footer will also work. So I come here, and then inside the footer I simply say that, okay, so where we have the links, this one is the home section, that is equal to hash about section, menu section, and then what else? Is it the same? So about us section, menu section, and then contact section. Is it contact? Okay, so now you can see that when we click on the home, it takes us to the home. When we click the about, it takes us to the about. When we go to the contact, so chef will take us to the chef, and then the menu will also take us to the menu, right? So thank you so much for watching this whole lectures. It's not easy, it's a whole lot. So if you've been able to come to this particular side, then thumbs up, you've really done well. What I would tell you is, it doesn't end here. You try and then you create this whole project from scratch, and then when you are done, you recreate it again. You do it over and over and over again. Spend time. When you familiarize yourself with concepts like the grid and then also the flex boxes, that will give you a hand-on approach that will help you match when designing any columns in CSS. So what I'll tell you is, keep practicing. Okay, it doesn't end here. Now that you are done with this one, you keep practicing, and that is how you become a good programmer. Okay, so I'll thank you once again and ask all my viewers to kindly subscribe to the channel and then give us a like and also a comment, because it is not easy to create this content, and having to explain everything line by line is a lot. Okay, so you have to reward our effort by kindly subscribing. If you are watching this video offline, you can consider going to Code with Ibra on Telegram or on YouTube to subscribe to the channel and also give us a comment and then a like. Thank you so much for watching this whole lecture, and I will see you in our amazing coming few courses. Bye bye.